What up, everybody? What's going on? Oh, Arosa. Arosa's already here. What up, Arosa? And Crystal. I know. It's a little weird on the screen right now. I'm on the wrong side. Ebony's not here. Empress, may she live forever. But we are joined by an equally awesome and fun person. I've seen Beth Doman. So for everyone who doesn't know, I've seen Beth's content like so much over the last like couple of weeks on TikTok. You're always on my For You page, by the way.
Well, thanks. I hope.
Oh no, it's great. I love it. Like I have so much fun on the seeing all your stuff come up. You do like a ton of gaming and
Yeah, it's mostly video game stuff these days.
and then were you doing a countdown to your birthday? Was that what it was?
I was doing another channel and that didn't last very long. It was like a journey. I was going to do like a TikTok post a day to catalog the year of my 50th because I turned 50 in December this year.
That's
and I did that like through the middle of February. And then I started getting active with streaming on Twitch and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't have time for all this. So, so that didn't last very long. It was a good endeavor. It was, just, follow through was not there.
So I'm gonna throw up on the screen here. Well, in chat, some links to your stuff so everyone can go check it out. Yeah, make sure to go. Please go follow Beth. You're pretty much just at Beth Doman on everything.
Yeah, on TikTok there's a dot between the two names, but but everything else is just Beth Doman all scrunched together. So
Rapunzel, what's up, Rapunzel? I haven't seen
Rapunzel has been watching all of my The Last of Us gameplay in both the first game and the second game. As a matter of fact, she's around so much I made her a mod in my very small YouTube and Twitch channels. She's a mod for me. So yeah, she's great. I really appreciate her. So
yeah, no, she's fantastic. She watched all of Rings of Power and Wheel of Time with us, and she's been intermittently hanging out with us for Mandalorian too. But yeah, she's fantastic. I recently absorbed Noman Garden for as a mod on Dragon Mount because he's always around and
nice.
He's fantastic. He's got the best. He's got the best input. So in addition to your lovely face tonight, I get to hang out with two amazing people, and the other one is Nerdy.
Hey, what's up, internet?
What's going on, man?
Nerdy. Everything and nothing, man. It's a busy week.
I know you put out I think you put a video out like a few hours ago for Bad Batch, right?
Oh, yeah, we put up our Bad Batch finale at 6 p.m. We put up our Blue Beetle trailer reaction at 3 p.m. That was today. And then tomorrow at 10 p.m. we are hopping on a flight to London. Because the Clarooster, she's playing D&D, so she can't be there. I'm joined by Grogu. I'll be covering his eyes when there's violence. I want to protect the poor young thing.
Equally as cute though.
Yeah, if you don't know me, I do content on the internet with my wife, the Claris Polaris, and we're flying to London to be panelists at Star Wars Celebration this year.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we got to be panelists last year, and we covered Mike Chen's Brotherhood, and so they brought us back again this year to cover Battle Scars, the Jedi Fallen Order sequel novel written by our friend
I just finished
Sam
it
May.
yesterday. I just finished reading it yesterday. Yeah. I had the audiobook. Yeah.
It's good, right?
Yeah. There's an audiobook for it, yeah.
Yeah, Sam Maggs is the author. She's wonderful. She's a friend of Clarus and I's, actually. We met her we're both from Calgary, and we were at Calgary Comic-Con, and we just kind of walked up to her and we started chatting during con. And then we ended up running to each other at a few more cons. She's wonderful, incredible LGBT plus writer who's bringing some of that gay spice to Star Wars, which I'm grateful for.
Yes.
And so, yeah, we're going to be talking about that Friday from 1 to 2 on the HoloNet news stage if you're going to Star Wars Celebration next week.
So cool. If you get a chance. Oh, yeah. Well, when is it?
It starts Friday. So our panel's on Friday.
Friday. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Are they doing any virtual stuff?
I have no idea. They have the right to distribute our panel live, but we haven't been told if they're... Last year they had that right too. They didn't broadcast our panel, so we don't know yet if any of it will be live. The panel will go up on our channel on Saturday, though.
Oh, yay. Okay, awesome. So if we don't get to see it live on Friday, we'll watch it on Saturday for sure.
Yeah, no book club this week. Sorry, guys.
Well,
Gathering Storm starts at the end of the month.
yeah, you have a good excuse. So that reminds me, everyone. So if you're watching now, Nerdy and his wife are on. You've read Knife of Dreams?
We just finished Knife of Dreams on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So no spoilers past Knife of Dreams, please. I know you guys are always fantastic about that, but let's keep it to Knife of Dreams. So speaking of Knife of Dreams, I got to go to the signing for that, and that was the first time I got to meet Robert Jordan, which was fantastic.
Oh wow.
I have a fun story about that, which I've told before, but I don't think Beth, you've heard it, and I know I've never told you. So the short version is I went with my cousin, and he is I love him. He's very awkward though, but he's fantastic. He's a police officer out in California now, but a state trooper or something like that, highway patrol. He was in front of me, and he gives his book to Robert Jordan, and he says it's like having Jesus sign a first edition copy of the book. That's what he says to him.
Oh my God! Wow, yeah, that's high praise.
Yeah, so Robert Jordan gets this like thoroughly disgusted look on his face, and like signs it and closes it and just like slides it back across the table, sighing. And he's like, "I write a book, son. I write a book." And the best part about that story. So then I walked up to him and I was like, "Man, some people are crazy." Like I completely threw him under the bus. Like I pretended like he didn't exist. So then my favorite part about the story is cut to 11 years later. We're at JordanCon 2019, and so for those who don't know, I used to do guest services at JordanCon for like 13 years. So I used to do like, our guest of honor, and like when Maria comes every year, but when Harriet was coming, I would handle her appearances and like, do the liaising back and forth and all that nonsense. So we would have a guest of honor dinner every year. And if Brandon came that year, and when Harriet and Maria and stuff, and they come, Alan and Amy Romanchik, they would join us for the dinners. So at my table this year, it was Harriet, Maria, Brent Weeks, his wife, my wife, and the con chairs for JordanCon. So Brent and I are sitting next to each other because I was dealing with his stuff for the con. And he asked me questions about the signing, and he was like, "Oh, we don't need like security for that." Cause he's like, the con, it's only 1,000 people. So it's not like big. And he's like, "But there's no crazy people here. Right?" And I was like, "Nah, it's fine." And then him and Harriet started talking about like crazy people at signings.
Oh,
and
no.
Then, yeah. So I brought up the story that I just told you about my cousin. And I was like, "I don't know if, this was so long ago." And she goes, "Oh," and I'm like, I don't know if you ever heard Harriet talk, by the way. She's got the best voice in the world. Like she's got like this deep Southern belle, like super proper, aristocratic type voice. It's fantastic. But she goes, "Oh no." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "That one made it to the table." And I'm like, "Excuse me? What does that mean?" And she goes, "Well, sometimes Jim would regale our friends with, interesting stories from signings or conventions over dinner when we would have dinner parties. And that one made it to the table." I was like, I could not. The moment we left the restaurant, I called my cousin. I was like, "You loser." Oh man, it was great. It was great. I love Nick, but yeah, and he loved it too. He loves to live in infamy and Robert Jordan and Harriet's mind. So that's great.
No, it's fun to be remembered.
Yeah.
I have my worst. I've worked with a lot of celebrities. I've been very fortunate in my career, and I'm really good about it. Except I was working on the first Avengers movie. This is back in like 2010 and or 11. Yeah, so we're filming in New York, and I was doing some stuff when the 3 days they shot in New York. And I was one of my best friends was Scarlett Johansson's body double for lighting, and so we were just having this like really chill conversation. And the first AD was with us, and this person like walked up and stood right next to me, and I turned to my right, and it was just Tom Hiddleston, and he had just like very suddenly appeared in my field of view, and so I'm standing there in like I'm covered in like dust and grime because they're exploding the street on me, and it was very fun. But I just turned to him, and I like short circuited, and all I said was, "I thought you'd be taller than me." And then nobody said anything, so I just left the conversation. I just walked away. I was like, I got nothing. I just left.
Perfect.
And I'm like, I hope he forgot about that. Like, I think about it every night before I go to sleep, but I hope he does not remember that I did that. It's very.
Oh my goodness.
You got to replay in your mind your worst moments, right?
Every night before bed. Yeah, I just go through all of my worst embarrassments.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm up until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Perfect. That's me every night. That's exactly what happens. And sometimes I go over like really minor things that for some reason stick in my head. Like that time I ruined my friend Jenna's Tupperware by accidentally heating a pasta sauce in it. Like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
And that was 11 years ago. No, that was 10 years ago. So yeah, that's what happens to me. I can't remember what I did yesterday because of my brain is stupid. But yeah, that'll stick in there. So, before we went live, I remarked how Beth, you have Ariel's Maureen here, and I said I would have something fun for you. So, a couple of months ago, when we were doing the Wheel of Time show for the rewatch, I had brought up how a cosplayer who goes to JordanCon all the time. Her name is Leslie Annis. She's a fellow Canadian, actually.
I love us Canadians.
She is fantastic. She did that costume.
Did she do that costume?
Yeah,
I've seen these pictures. I've seen these. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's freaking brilliant.
So good. Yeah, she got first place that year and Harriet's Judge's Choice Award, which was great.
Love it.
Yeah, she looks great. So,
wow,
but
that's great.
The reason I brought her up, and it's funny, it's perfect. This is I wish people probably won't believe that we didn't plan this, but the reason I brought it up was because I talked about how she had this baby doll, this like realistic looking baby doll that was a freaking Trolloc. And I asked her to send me some pictures, and she also sent me some pictures of her Nargella shirt, which is perfect for yours. I mean, not shirt. You're wearing the Narg Smart shirt, which is perfect. But
that's our guy.
Narg.
She cosplays as Nargella.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I'm dead right now. Oh my goodness, that is amazing.
That.
I love it.
Nargella hanging out in the restaurant at the hotel, and then we got Nargella with a eagle Trolloc. Nargella beating somebody with a tiny little hammer.
I keep holding out hope that the Dark One is going to bring Narg back for the final battle. Like, he's brought back so many Forsaken. I just feel like Narg was a real one, and he deserves a second chance. You know?
Oh my god! I'm like a lot of people were sad that Narg wasn't in the show. I was overly and like happy that he was not in the show.
I disagree. I so fully disagree with you in that he should have been. Like, he is the greatest character in the entire series, and leaving him out is I'll never forgive Rafe Judkins. You know, like I can't. He left out arguably the most important plot point in the entirety of the Dragon Reborn story. And I don't know how Rand becomes Rand al'Thor without Narg. That's his
that's fair.
That's his
That's
inciting
very
incident.
fair. It led him down the road, right? It was like the first step down the road.
Yeah, he doesn't need to meet Elaine. Yeah. Like, who's Elaine anyway, right?
Right. Who cares about jumping over a wall in the city?
Falling. Jumping is so generous.
Yeah.
Jumping really makes it sound intentional.
It's true.
Stumbling.
Yeah.
It was intentional for the pattern, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Story time with Anna wanted to give you a little word here. Maybe you can let us know what it is. She said this is for nerdy. Claude Hooper Bukowski thinks that it's groovy to hide in a movie.
I'm not hiding. I was working. I was working hard. I was running like crazy. They were blowing up the street.
Okay. So for you when you were filming, okay.
The guy comes over so casually and he's like, yeah, so we have like, we're on 42nd Street across from this cafe. Yeah. And like, yeah, so we have like enough explosives here to kill all of you, so don't go near it. And I have done some
cash.
It wasn't my first time doing stunts, so I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I know where to run. But like, there were some like, there was like 420 of us, I think. And there were definitely some people who were like, I just wanted like $75 and a hot meal. Like, I didn't know I was signing up for like But yeah, no, it was a good time.
Real
I love
work.
the industry.
So and now I gotta throw this last picture up, or there's two, I guess. That's the baby.
Aw, is that a
It's-
baby
oh my
ogier?
God. No, it's a Trolloc.
It's a baby Trolloc.
It has hoofed feet too. Oh God, that thing is
yeah.
terrifying. Its name is Clementine too, by the way.
The bushy eyebrows made me think that thing was going to grow up to be Loyal.
I can see it. It's I could see that. The ears too. If you didn't have the horns, or she, or it, oh God, it's terrifying. I gotta get it off. I can't take it.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, that thing is horrifying. It haunts my. But the worst, like, it doesn't encapsulate it in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
The worst part about it is that it is super lifelike. Like, it's one of those like silicone like things. It jiggles and like it's.
Wait, that was a doll?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was makeup they put on a real child.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I was like, this is a really kind of irresponsible thing to do to your kid,
No,
to shave
it
the
is
front
not.
of their head like that.
It's not a child.
It's a little small on my screen, so I couldn't really tell.
It's terrifying. It looks real. No, it does. It legit looks real. It's like one of those like super realistic looking baby things. It's absolutely horrifying to see in person. Like, because like I said, it's like it jiggles and like it moves and it's just so creepy. Every time she takes it out, I'm like, run away. It's horrible. I love you, Leslie.
I run away from children in general. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, Noman Garden agrees. They are. I agree.
Yeah.
My wife and I chose not to do that, so we're good.
Mine are grown. So
see if I could cut to
You're
that
on the other side.
I would be good.
Yeah.
I not having children was in our vows. Like, if I impregnated my wife, she would kill me.
That's fair.
I would be dead somewhere, and nobody would find me because she's a very smart lady. She's horrifying and smart.
That was one of the first things we did when we moved to Florida. Erin had to find somewhere to dump a body because in New York we had easy places to dump bodies, and she was like,
"Oh, MetLife Stadium. No one will ever find it."
Exactly, because no one goes there.
Yeah.
I
got connections there. If you need to hide a body, I have some friends in New York.
Oh, in New York, no problem. Gilgo Beach. That's just the long strip in between Jones Beach.
But like,
and,
you don't want to drive all the way out there. I got someone who'll come pick it up.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, connections.
Yeah. It's like Uber Eats, but it's when you want something out of your house.
What did they call them in John Wick that he calls? Like, he calls, I forgot, the cleaners or whatever. They come to his house.
Oh my God. It's oh, I can't remember.
Someone in chat will tell us.
I haven't seen John Wick 4 yet. I'm very excited to see it, though.
I'm very excited to see it, too. All right, before we get to Mando, this is a shorter episode, so that's why I was like, we could chat.
Only like 30 episodes, right? Or 30 minutes?
Yeah, so they vary, which is weird. Like, in this most recent season, like, and even in this first season, there's like a 20-minute swing from one episode to another episode.
Yeah, but the finale, I think the finale is only like 34 minutes.
I think it's 45 minutes.
It's
okay.
Without the
without the credits, it's probably 38.
Yeah, without the credits, it's 38 minutes, so it's not so bad. I saw the D&D movie this weekend. No spoilers.
Oh, was it good? I haven't seen it yet.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. I absolutely loved it.
Chris Pine living Chris Pine's life.
Oh my God.
Like, okay.
Oh my God.
I've got to go see it.
So good. Absolutely. Everyone should go and see it immediately. It is absolutely fantastic. It is easily in my, like, I have a weird fluctuation with movies, like, and a weird relationship with movies. I don't listen to music that often. Usually, like, if I'm cleaning or doing some nonsense, I'll put a movie on instead of like putting music on. This is going to be one of my movies that I could just put on in the background and watch over and over and over and over and over and over.
Oh, so you're saying it's basically like Fifth Element vibes.
Yes, that's what I do that with Fifth Element too.
That's like, you can't go wrong with it, right? I mean, it's like iconic. Even though the special effects,
they're great. They're terrible, but they're
great.
They're
terrible, but they're great. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Nothing like Gary Oldman. Nothing like it.
Oh my God. Gary Oldman's amazing. Just looking at all the different characters he's played. Like,
he really is. He's brilliant.
He's I
was a big fan of the Dragons movie. They did a great job.
So good. The dude from Bridgerton that plays the Paladin.
Yeah. Yes. Hello.
Oh my
God.
Yes. He is
eye
amazing.
candy for days.
But not just like he is beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he is the perfect paladin for anyone that's ever played.
I can totally see it.
The epitome of paladin behavior. Like it's
like
just
lawful good behavior. Like
yeah, perfect. If you love paladins, you'll be like, that's the perfect paladin. If you hate paladins and the people that play them, you'll be like, that's the perfect paladin. Like it's it's great. All right.
Awesome.
But I don't want to spoil anything for that for anybody. But Nerdy, I want to ask you before we go into Mandalorian and Star Wars, only because I haven't talked to you about Wheel of Time before. So you've read up to Knife of Dreams.
Yep.
So you've seen a lot of the bigger stuff, like Dumai's Wells and Cleansing of Sidene and all that stuff at this point. So like, do you have a favorite scene or a favorite character or anything like that? I mean, it's so hard to pick a character, especially this far in, but
no, it's easy. It's
okay, all right.
Alan Mandragoran.
All right.
He was my favorite from the show. Daniel Henney is a monster.
I love Daniel Henney. I've loved him for years.
But
Lan has had Lan is just everything to me, and he really is my favorite. If I had to go my favorite scene though, it's my favorite chapter, and it's the Emmons Field battle from Dragon Reborn, right? Yeah.
No.
Or is it Fires of Heaven?
Fires of Heaven.
It's either 3 or 4. Yeah. Fires of Heaven. And so that chapter to me is the best it's ever been. And I really love it. I the way it's structured, the emotional beats of it, as well as the action of it. And Fayo riding through at the end of it, I think is just
it's actually the Shadow Rising, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Nomen Garden. Yeah, Nomen Garden just
it's from
it's the 4th book.
Yeah, Shadow Rising.
And then Fires of Heaven is 5. Yeah.
It's 5.
Yeah, because that's all going down when Rand is
it's all one book in my
the Io Waste. So
I remember the numbers better than I remember the names. So like I knew it was book 4, but I that could be any of them.
That's true.
At this point. Yeah. That was like a year ago for us. It's crazy because we read at the speed that we're reading. It's been, we're
it's pretty quick though.
We're a year and 2 months into it.
I mean, like it's quicker than some of the first time reader stuff that I've seen. That like it's a much faster pace. Well, I mean, like it's a slow pace for people that read books, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're just blasting through this series, but it's a faster pace than like 1 or 2 chapters a week.
Yeah, I mean the show's 3 hours. It's we started the goal was to have like an hour to an hour and a half. And now the show is regularly 2.5 to 3 hours. And people complain if it's less than 2.5. So
how dare they?
It's a 3-hour show. We've got a lot to talk about. And whether people enjoy what I have to say or not, I say it. So that's kind of been where we've gone with it. But yeah, we watched the show. And then we started book club the week after the show ended. Because, Clarus was kind of like, we say we're going to start it. And then she's like, do we want to start it like in a couple of weeks? And I was like, no. It's like, we're here every Friday. Let's still be here every Friday. Yeah. And we've missed some Fridays, and we're missing next Friday. I think we've missed like 5 in the last.
You have a good excuse.
60. Yeah.
You have a good excuse.
So I think we're like 55 for 60 of the last. So
awesome.
we're doing a pretty good job, but yeah.
And,
it's just crazy. Someone did the math on like the number of hours it would take to catch up. And it's like, at this point, I don't know why anyone would go back and do it, but like it's crazy.
I mean, if you like Wheel of Time, and it's like listening to a podcast. If you're, if you can freely listen to things, like you don't need to watch the videos.
I say that I've watched 100 episodes of Critical Role in the last month and a half. So like I'm like, I don't know how to do this, and I'm like, yeah, I got to episode 100 today, and I started like January 26th, I think. So I have an obsessive personality, so it's working out.
That's a lot of CR right there.
There you go. Althor's Taint really it likes book club, so you're good.
Althor's Taint's a regular. I'm sure they dropped a cool period in the chat when they got here because that's their thing. I can probably scroll up and find it.
Yeah, probably. He was talking about our puppet show. Our
puppets.
So on Tuesdays, I hang out with the Way of the Leaf podcast. We do a first time reader show, but I'm in my my puppet form, my felt form. who's back there.
Felt
What I
for-
would give for a Muppet Wheel of Time,
We should
like,
do that.
just like Fozzie as Perrin, Kermit,
Oh.
Gonzo as Matt. Like it
Oh
just
my
writes
God.
itself.
That's
I'm here for
amazing.
that right now.
The problem
Nynaeve
is
has
that
to be
you
Miss
want,
Piggy.
yeah, the problem is you want Nynaeve as Miss Piggy, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, so
Tough.
does
Who would be
Lan?
a
Oh, so then
queen?
Kermit is Lan. Lan as Kermit is hilarious.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then you make
100%. Then we need a
who's
Rand.
glasses. Oh God, what's his name? With the little red like hair on top.
Not Beaker.
Beaker?
Not
No.
No,
The scientist
I
one.
know who you're talking about. I cannot. I
He's a
don't
little
remember
fucking
his name.
nerd. He's
His-
their
his-
stage manager.
His friend. There's the two of them, Beaker and the other one. Oh, I don't
No, not them. I'm talking about the guy who is the stage manager on the Muppet Show, who's always like, "Oh, Kermit, like I need you to get on stage right now."
The one that talks. Yeah.
Oh my God,
The one
yeah.
that just makes the sound.
It would be so easy to cast this.
That's
Scooter.
amazing. All right.
Scooter, that's it. Yeah. Oh my God, it'd be
Skeeter
so
and
fun.
Scooter. Thank you. Everybody.
Okay, before we get started, quick question. Maybe it's
Shoot.
not quick, but I have the question.
Shoot.
Okay, you're doing the Wheel of Time Muppet Show, right?
Yes.
Who's the one person that's a human, and what human is it?
Oh, I love those memes.
I've got it.
All right, you go first.
Pedro Pascal as Tom and Thor
Oh my
because
God.
he is Zaddy.
Oh my God. But they'd have to put the on-screen of Tam and Abel traveling to the White Tower. We need to see.
I would be here for that. I would be
I would-
totally fine.
I
to
would
have-
do.
Yeah.
I would do Pedro Pascal as a Shamael. So it's just this one
Or that
human
too,
who's
yes.
trying to fight the Muppets and is
Oh
just
my
like
God.
so frustrated by the Muppets.
As
And he
long
gets
as it's
to-
Pedro Pascal, he could be anybody.
That's fair. And he gets to be Balsamon too. So
I think another option would be like Go Moraine. And especially for the first season, you have this human being trying to corral the Muppets to the White Tower.
Oh my God.
Rosamund
I think would
Pike
be
too.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Why,
yeah.
why
Oh my
couldn't
God.
why couldn't Pedro Pascal be Moraine? I mean,
he would look good, and he would look good in a
down for
dress. I mean, he looks good in a dress. I saw him on that Saturday Night Live skit.
Right?
He looks good in a dress.
just saying, like Pedro
That's
Pascal
so
could
funny.
be anybody.
Anything. He could be anything. Speaking of Pedro Pascal, so before we get into this week's show, we had just over like 700 people vote in the two polls that we did. Let me get my graphics. So over on, I think this was on Twitter, we had 207 votes, 39 for Last of Us and 34 for Witcher, top two. I'm a little like, I really liked Carnival Row, and I like fairy stuff, like fae stuff. But I'll get over it. And then
Carnival Row is pretty sexy to watch with other people, though. That's a horny show.
It
to
really is.
be talking about live.
Whatever, we'll do it.
But also, The Last of Us is a very sad show to watch.
It's
live.
very sad. It's so depressing. But we're probably
But
going to
is
get
it though?
But we do
is
get to
it
see it
though?
from Pedro Pascal. So we're
that show.
pretty-
Episode 3 of that show broke me for a day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We filmed our reaction at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and then I was on vacation in Denver with 50 people, and I went to bed for 6 hours in the middle of our second day of vacation because I cried so hard that I couldn't function. Like I was like, no, I can't do this. I will see you all later. And I came back out for dinner. Like I was
Aw.
ruined.
I mean, I have to say, because I've played the video game. I've played the video game half a dozen times since 2013
Mhm.
when it came out.
And you're doing it.
I
On your Twitch
replayed
now.
this. I streamed it on Twitch, and I'm currently I'm playing The Last of Us Part 2 for the first time. So that's new experience for me. But the third episode of The Last of Us was the one that was the biggest diversion from what happens in the game. It was the biggest, change. But
I
it was
saw-
so brilliantly done. It was mind you, there's something entertaining about the whole time that you're with Bill in the
Oh,
game
yeah.
without giving spoilers away. It's vastly different than the show.
Mhm.
But it's so it's comical in a way. But the casting and the writing, I mean, that was the best episode of the entire season as far as like watchability goes, I think. But my favorite episode of the season would be 8, easily. Episode
yeah.
8. Yeah. Brutal, but
Well,
so freaking good.
If it wins tonight, you want to?
It better win.
Do you
it
want to
better
do
win.
episode 8?
Heck yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
there you go. So if
And
it wins tonight,
episode
that's pretty
6
good.
if you need someone else too, because I'm all about talking about Sam and Henry
I
as
mean,
well.
you
So,
can just
yeah,
come and hang
here
out with
for it.
us.
Here for it.
I put the poll up. The poll is up right now in the YouTube chat. So if you're
Vote.
watching on other stuff other than YouTube, pop over to the YouTube thing and give a vote. They're pretty neck and neck. I mean, Last of Us is still was a little ahead, so I'm gonna like take the actual numbers from the vote and add it to what we have, and we'll have a winner. I'll leave it up for a while, and we'll do it after the show is over, after we watch Mandalorian. But let's get into Mandalorian. You guys are watching Bad Batch. Love Bad Batch. I love all of the Star Wars content that they're doing on Disney Plus, and Dave Filoni and John Favreau are geniuses. So
Star Wars Rebels is the best one, though.
Oh, so good. The writing for episode 3 of that is so good.
Star Wars
Rebels?
Yeah.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
Of which season?
Season 2. Sorry. Season 2.
I was
episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a freaking fantastic show.
So,
anyway, okay. Yeah.
So if we have, I've complained every week about the watch party program that they have for Disney Plus. So for you guys that Beth and Nerdy, we're doing a watch party for everybody. We can't do that with everyone because it'll be like the mouse will come after me. So I have my little handy dandy timer over here. I'll press play at the same time for everybody. If we have an issue with the watch party, just go ahead and press play on your own thing, and we mostly use it for to know when the scenes are happening on.
Right.
So I've never seen the show before, so this is gonna be really interesting.
Really?
Really?
No.
I was about to say. I was like,
wait
was I talking to your wife on Discord?
This is like next to me right now. I haven't built it yet, but like I have the.
That's awesome.
Oh my god,
I want to get the Razor Crest so bad.
I'm going to start I'm like literally like working at Star Wars Celebration next week. Can you imagine if I was like, oh no, I haven't seen the Mandalorian?
I was like, how is this possible? I thought maybe I was talking to your wife. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna press play in a couple seconds, and we'll get into this episode. I want to see Giancarlo Esposito really bad. All right.
Oh my god, we could have a whole conversation.
Also amazing. Just on him. I can have a whole episode just on him.
Hands down.
So I'm gonna press play. So everyone who's getting ready to watch with us, get ready to press play. We're gonna press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So this episode, I looked up something because I was like, in this last episode, Moff Gideon's ship lands, but it's a TIE fighter and its wings fold, and something that we've never seen before. But apparently, that's how all the TIE fighters land. They have landing gear thing. Dave Filoni and John Favreau talked about it. It wasn't used anywhere except in a piece of concept art for a video game. And then they were like, yeah, we'll do that. So apparently that's how TIE fighters can land if they want. Usually they're hung up so they could just take right off. But,
right.
Yeah.
I'm getting audio through one of your audio streams.
Are you?
I'm totally muted, so.
Can you hear it still?
That's so weird. It's muted on my screen, but I can still hear it.
It's muted on mine. I just have the
That's so I don't know where the audio comes from. That's wild.
Is it gone?
You have something I want.
That's funny. I have it muted on mine. I just have the closed caption on.
That's fine.
Let me make sure OBS isn't doing something funky. No, all my stuff is muted on OBS too. Weird. Okay. I'm sorry. Is it too loud? Like, can you
No, it's fine. I just it's like not synced perfectly with their lip movements, but that's fine. I'll survive.
All right. You're a professional. You can do it. I trust you.
I only react to like 10 hours of content a week. It's fine.
It's not like you haven't done this before.
And people just want more. They're like, can you do 6 episodes of Attack on Titan a week? And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
that's a lot of Attack on Titan. That's a lot of Attack on Titan.
We're burning through that one. We're going to be done with that pretty quick here.
That's a lot of episodes.
Hey, it's Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis.
I love these cameos. I love
Ted
them
Lasso,
so
punching babies.
I was about to say the 2 most hated stormtroopers on the internet. These 2 guys. Mm-hmm. I got serious red versus blue vibes with them too when they were like going back and forth.
That's fair. God, do they still make Red vs. Blue? It must be on like season like 16 or something.
I think so. I think they do. I don't know. So that's Adam Polly, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Adam Polly. And that's Jason Sudeikis. Yeah. They Adam Polly played my favorite character in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. He was like his deputy in his hometown. Wade. Oh yeah, they're talking about Moff Gideon.
We were on a cruise ship when COVID hit. And so
oh my god.
Punch Grogu. We were on a cruise ship when COVID hit. And we dropped off all of the like guests. They got to go off, but we were stuck because the CDC wouldn't let us off the ship. And so we would just sit in like the main lobby with this giant screen and watch movies. And I just remember there was one day where there were like, like 400 drunk crew members watching the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Oh God.
Oh, so that thing that they're shooting. So I mean, obviously, the shtick here is stormtroopers can't hit anything, but also that thing that they're shooting at. I watched one of the making ofs. That is a reference to first. It's a reference to in the first episode the thing that Werner Herzog was carrying the Beskar in, but
the Camtino.
Yes, which in itself is a reference to
Will Rohan.
The ice cream maker.
Yeah.
That Woodrow Hood carried in, what was it, Empire?
Yeah, when fleeing
Bespin. Oh yes.
I'm excited for the Willrow Hood run.
That's
every year celebration. There's a giant it's like the Wario runs from San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, they you go to Star Wars Celebration, you'd think you'd see like an army of Mandalorians and stormtroopers and Darth Vaders and Sith and Jedi, but you also get this random ass just no name. The character is named like the fans named him. That's not his name. Like he doesn't have a name in the movie.
I remember who named him. Yeah, no,
like it was just like a meme.
By Kenner.
What's up?
I think he might have been named by Kenner back when they were making action figures for everybody. I can't remember. A lot of the characters' names come from Kenner though.
Maybe. Oh my god,
Jesus
he punched
Christ.
me. That was so hard. But then you just get this random, freaking dude in like an orange jumpsuit with an ice cream maker, like this, like 50, 60 people. I saw it at the 2017 one because it was in Tampa or Orlando, and I went to it here. The what's her name? Wow. She wrote Phasma. Her name is
Gwendolyn Christie.
No, that's
who played Phasma, right?
Captain Phasma.
Delilah Dawson.
Oh, the author, yeah.
Author that wrote the book, yeah.
Oh my god, I was at Dragon Con in September, and Delilah Dawson was sitting there at a table doing a signing, but I didn't know it was a signing. She was just sitting there when there was no one at the table. What? We just walked up and started talking to her, and no one said anything, so we just talked for like 2 minutes, and then I turned and I realized there was this giant line of people waiting to talk to Delilah Dawson. They hadn't like officially started the signing yet.
Oh, okay. So I was about to say there was no one there.
I just like awkwardly, and I was like, "I'm sorry," and I like walked away.
That's great. She's awesome though. She's really nice.
That book is incredible.
Yeah, it's really good. She was a local. When she started out, she lived in Atlanta, and she was like a small local Atlanta author. And one of her first cons was Jordan Con, like Jordan Con 2 or something like that. So I had a pre-Star Wars relationship with her, which was
so cool.
Yeah, she's really nice, and it's cool. It's crazy seeing her characters just walking around Galaxy's Edge now.
Yeah.
The E-Web Blaster.
I'm hoping Vi Moradi comes back in a big way.
So much. She's such a cool character in the books, and The couple of people that I've seen that play her at Galaxy's Edge are great.
Yeah.
You know, they change people every like 25 minutes or something like that. Or
Yeah, it's
it
hot.
might be even shorter during the summer. I think it might be 15 minutes during the summer. Or maybe that's for the costumed people. I don't remember.
I had an audition for that one time, and they explained to me what the like job was, and I just was like, I'm good. It's one of like the only auditions I've ever just walked in the middle of it, just been like, guys, like I'm not gonna say yes to this. Like,
Never mind.
I'm gonna go home, go back to bed.
Never mind. I always
if you
wanted
need someone to work inside, I'm good. But like,
yeah.
Well, I'm 6'4", right? So they're like, "Do you want to be the beast?" And I'm like, "Do I want to wear fur all day, every day outside in California?" No, I don't.
Sure don't. Oh my god, he's so good. He plays such an evil. Like he doesn't even need that awesome costume.
Mm-hmm.
His Darth Vader-esque costume, because like in Breaking Bad, when he's wearing his like super stupid looking like fast food restaurant manager costume, he's still imposing and scary.
I mean, he's Juan Carlo Esposito.
I know.
You don't need to say anything.
I don't know.
Else.
I like the shoulder pads.
They're awesome.
I want to wear more shoulder pads.
No.
Did you see that show that he was recently in and on Netflix?
Is that the one where it was like?
Was that what it was?
The one that you can watch in any order.
In any order. It's like the episodes are different colors or whatever. This is definitely like a wild.
Yeah, I don't know if that was what it was called.
Yeah, I did not watch that yet, but it because I was like, this is too much right now. I can't take this.
That's not what it's called, but I'm gonna find it right now.
I don't want to choose the order. Just put them in the order I should watch them.
Exactly.
No, it actually randomly generates the order for you.
Oh my god.
So,
like, okay, I dig that.
Yeah, Kaleidoscope is what it was called, and because each episode has a different color. So yeah,
Yasmin helped us out there.
Yes, thank you, Yasmin. It was actually, I mean, it was well done, and it has a lot of really good actors in it, like people who you'll know.
I've seen it pop up in my like, you should watch this.
Yeah, Jai Courtney's in it,
mm-hmm.
and Paz Vega's in it. I mean, it's a good cast, and it's just really good, pretty entertaining.
The funny thing about this scene that I saw was more than half of those stormtroopers are 501st because they only had 28 costumes. Yeah, they only had 28 stormtrooper costumes that they that they could use. So they were like, how do we do this? And Filoni was like, well, George used to always call up the 501st when he needed like stormtroopers and stuff like that. Maybe we could do that. And Favreau was like, can we do that? And he was like, yeah, let's try. So he was like, I called up the local dude in California, and he was like, yeah, I think I can have like 60 people there. And he did, and they didn't tell him what it was for. They didn't know that it was for filming a television show. They thought maybe it was like a premiere or like a special event. And
they're really cool about it too. They like honored them at Celebration last year because it was in Anaheim, right near their like
that's awesome.
thing. So
yeah. The I love how they really are exploring the Mandalorian culture in this. Like he just said, Mandalorian isn't a race, it's a creed. In response to Carl Weathers, was like, you know, he was like, you were on Mandalore. I wasn't born on Mandalore. And he's like, but you're a Mandalorian. So yeah, no, I love that they touched that. Because in the games and stuff, there are Mandalorian who are non-human too. I mean, we haven't seen one yet, though. The rumor and
we know of.
Yeah.
I think take their helmets off.
I mean, I think that the armor is a Zabrak. Like I'm like, look at her helmet. Like it's perfect.
I actually read a different theory on that today. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want spoilers, but it'll be very interesting to see if we see the armor unhelmed at some point.
That actress Emily Swallow was at
she's awesome.
Toronto Con that just happened, Toronto Comic Con, and she hosted. She's just up. They had some people up for the con.
Okay. And
she hosted a karaoke night, and you could pay, I think it was like $100 to sing a song with her. And I was like, do I want to pay? Like, what would be the best song to force her to like sing with me.
Force her to sing with me.
I
mean, it's accurate,
I was like,
guess.
is there a good like taking off my mask or like is there a good song I could get that would be a very funny like.
Oh, yeah,
but then we didn't end up going. But
she played I forgot the character's name in Supernatural. She was God's sister.
Yeah,
the darkness. I forgot what her name was in Supernatural.
That's a show I won't ever watch.
Really?
I've heard it's great, but it is also
great.
15 seasons.
It is 15 seasons.
And I gave the last year of my life to Wheel of Time, and I think I need shorter things in my life at the moment.
I watched the first 4 seasons of Supernatural, and then it lost its appeal to me. Although going back now,
I've seen every episode of every CW superhero show, and I've given the CW enough of my life. I did the Flash Arrowverse, and I can't do anymore. I just can't.
I much prefer his Barry Allen to the mess that we have now.
Or no.
So
hopefully that all comes to an end soon.
Yeah, me too. I hope so. So obviously his hate for droids is because his family was killed in the Clone Wars by droids. Which is also probably why we talked about this in the episode where he goes to Mos Eisley, the cantina. Why the Mos Eisley cantina in A New Hope, the dude, was like, we don't serve their kind here. Yeah. It was right after Clone Wars, so right after like 20 years, but still, like, it's still going to be very fresh in everyone's mind, especially in on Tatooine. There was a lot of fights there. Oh, we're gonna get to see his face soon.
You know that that Carl Weathers has directed some of this new season of The Mandalorian.
Really
he directed episode 4.
Yep, and 5. I think
so
he did
good.
5.
No, 5 was
Maybe I watched them back to back because I was behind a couple episodes, so maybe it was the credits for 4 I saw just before I dived into 5. But yeah, I was really pretty impressed. I was like, that's pretty awesome.
He directed the I won't say. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, we're not spoiling season 3 of Mandalorian, but we could talk about season 2 of Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
But season 3 we're leaving because it's still,
makes sense.
Still coming out. IG-88 is another fun one too. His droid version only appeared in I think it was Empire, when Chewie goes into the room with all the Ugnaughts to like get C-3PO's parts back.
Oh yeah.
And then they had a toy of him, and then that was it.
But in the Cloud City.
Yeah. But then they had a toy of him, and that was the only time he ever appeared in anything until Clone Wars.
Well, and like the Kenner wanting to make a toy of literally everything.
Oh yeah,
was why so much of Star Wars became iconic, right? Like, even like it's the only reason why we know what's his face as Walrus Man is because Kenner was like, "What's this character's name?" And George was like, "I don't know." And they're like, "All right, he's Walrus Man." Like,
whatever. And George Lucas was a genius with that too. He took almost no money for directing the first movie and writing it and everything, but he was like, "Oh, I want all the merchandising rights," and they were like, "Yeah, fine, whatever." And especially at the time, they didn't give a shit.
Brilliant.
So that's literally where he made all of his money.
Oh, that crash is so cool.
Oh, so good. Oh, but the 501st didn't do any of the stunt stuff. They just did they just did the running around, and
that's what we call a liability.
Yeah,
in the industry.
Yeah. Any of the stormtroopers that don't have to interact with anybody, they're the one. That's probably a 501st guy. The Dark Troopers were in Rogue One. I was going through this episode today, like looking at stuff. I'm like, where does it? I think that this Dark Trooper armor like it's specific to something.
Look at baby Grogu in the sack.
From the Legends books.
Yeah.
But are zombies in the Legends books, and so not zombies here. I kind of hope I want a zombie movie in Star Wars. I'm hoping we do like an Elseworlds kind of.
I know. I mean, they're probably not going to do non-canon. Like Disney probably won't do it. I mean, they could, I guess.
Okay, so I deviate for a second and ask,
yeah.
what do you guys think the chances? I don't want this to be spoilery, so if it's spoilery, let me know, because it did happen in season 2 of
Season
The
2's
Mandalorian.
fine. Yeah, season 2's fine.
What do you think the chances of us getting Ezra and Thrawn with Ahsoka?
Oh, 100%.
100%. And Sabine Wren. Are we going to see Sabine Wren? And I mean, like,
I
think we already
do
have.
you want to know?
Yeah, I want to know.
They showed footage of Sabine at Star Wars Celebration last year.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and Natasha Barduzio, she did some on stage stuff.
You know what? You are right. I did see this.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about all this.
I also think we saw Sabine in this most recent season of The Mandalorian. But I won't talk about.
We'll have to talk more.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Cannot say anything.
Yeah. We had our first episode when we were doing this. We had a guy that was in this most recent. He was in Book of Boba Fett, season 2 of Mandalorian, and season 3 of Mandalorian. He played a Tusken Raider in Book of Boba Fett and season 2, and he was a Mandalorian in season 3.
Oh,
awesome!
That's so fun.
Rory Ross. Should check out his website, theroryross.com. He's got he just did it. I was about to say he was doing a charity fundraiser thing for drinking water, for people that need drinking water, like actually different places around the US, because that's a thing.
Yeah. Infrastructure. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Also, Cal Kestis brought to the live universe would be freaking
so good.
Amazing.
I'm hoping
it's tough because what would it be in? Unless they do another season of Kenobi, there's not anything in that era.
I think they aren't.
No, they could, because
they've talked about it, but I don't know if it's official yet. I think we'll find out next weekend, right?
Probably, yeah. We'll probably
the second game takes place 10 years after the fall, right? 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
It takes place the same year as the first season of Kenobi.
As Kenobi.
Yeah.
So
they said it is canon. Like they did say it's canon.
It is canonical. Yeah. It is.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And
this guy was in Force Unleashed for the first time too. The Flame Trooper. That exact model too. The paint job on the armor and everything.
Mm-hmm. I did enjoy the book that I just finished.
Which one?
Battle Scars?
Yeah, Battle Scars. It was pretty good. It was it left me with a lot of questions, but I know that the game's coming out next month. So, and I will be live streaming that every day until I finish it. It'll be like #1 on my list of stuff to do after we get back from JordanCon. So I think it comes out the week.
The 28th.
It's over, right? Yeah.
I think it is the 28th.
Week. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes out on my birthday.
Yay!
Happy
You're
birthday.
an April baby too?
Yeah. And the day we're starting Gathering Storm. It's like the 28th is a big day for me.
That's awesome. My birthday is this coming weekend, actually.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Are you younger than me?
Yes, I am younger than you.
Damn it.
We were talking about that before. You look way younger than me though, so that's all that matters.
I'm older than a lot of people in this fandom, but that's okay.
I still don't believe that
in the Wheel of Time fandom. I don't think that's true.
Well,
I see the demographics of who watches our show.
I started reading The Wheel of Time when I was a senior in high school in 1990. I picked up the first book.
Let's go, Grogu.
Yes!
Go, Grogu.
You did so good.
Wasn't
this so good?
Wasn't this where?
Oh, he's tired.
They showed healing for the first time as a force power.
Grief Karga gets healed after the dragon attack in the lava flats.
Thank you. Because that does a tie-in to Rey's ability in the movie, right? Like
it predates it. Yeah, this came out first.
Right. We talked about that in that episode.
It made force healing canonical for the movie. Like
Correct.
her using it set the precedent that it's a thing.
Yeah, because all the other force healing is legends.
Video games and legends. Yeah.
Because you can't force heal in Fallen Order.
Correct.
And you can't force heal in Battlefront 2, and those are the only canonical video game stories.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart that KOTOR is not considered canonical.
I know. Well, I think it's going to be, though. You
think they're going to remake it?
No way.
No, not the current version of it, but I think they're going to take pieces. I think we're going to see Darth Revan in or references to Darth Revan in the High Republic show.
Well, I
The
heard that they're
Acolyte?
actually.
Maybe.
I heard that they're going to remake KOTOR. Like,
Yeah, I heard that too, but I don't know. I don't know.
They
how
were.
true that is.
They were.
Oh yeah, right, and then it got canceled.
It's not
How
going. No, it
aggressive.
didn't get canceled. It was being made by one studio that's a subsidiary of a larger studio, and it was going so
Oh.
poorly that the larger studio has absorbed the project up the chain of command.
That's what.
Basically,
but it's
so it's
probably
never
5
gonna
or 6
happen.
years out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
I
he
think-
is.
I think. Oh my god.
Oh, my boo.
I know he's
My
still so pretty.
boo.
He's still so pretty.
This is a back to spray. Yeah, no shit, IG.
He suffered damage to your sense.
I love him so much.
Taika is amazing. He said when he walked onto set to film this, he was like, he said when he doesn't know like how he feels about it. Like he was like, all right, this is gonna be interesting, and he's like, because he's I'm not really on screen, but I just want to get the feel of things. And then when he turned and saw all the stormtroopers, he was like, oh, okay, all right, like because he was like, he grew up watching Star Wars, so he's like he had like a fan moment. Oh, so Spooter's
I was about to read the same thing.
Yeah, what's the best Star Wars game if they want to hit people with lightsabers in a satisfying way?
I mean, every Star Wars game has that.
I mean,
Even like
KOTOR,
KOTOR, but it's so
think-
dated at this point.
it is.
You also don't control the dice element of KOTOR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really control the combat. I think that if you want to control the combat, the best
Fallen
game is
Order is
going to
the best
be
one.
Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yes, that's a
Fallen
little bit
Order-
older, but yeah.
Fallen Order
Yeah.
has a higher skill ceiling in terms of like the style of gameplay. It's very much
true.
like hit parry mechanics, sort of like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Dark Souls. It's easier than
Yeah.
Dark Souls, but it's like Dark
Yeah.
Souls. And so I would
But you
go
can
with
also
Force
set the-
Unleashed if you want satisfying.
You can
Yeah.
also reset the difficulty settings in Fallen Order, so you're not slotted like a Souls game where it's just
I
hard.
like setting the difficulty in those games to just hard enough to where you have to
Yeah.
count, like you have to block.
Yeah,
because
you have to
if
counter.
it's
So
just
Grandmaster.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I guess, but
I wanna
for
be
that one, yes, I
miserable.
did. That one, I did play on Grandmaster, but that's only because I like if it's especially like the Assassin's Creed games and stuff like that. If I can just button mash the whole time, I get bored real quick.
yeah,
I have to,
yeah.
I have to think to make sure I block to.
Oh my
stay-
god, that's another really good game I'm looking forward to this year is Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Mirage, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm looking
excited
forward
for
to
that too.
Yeah. Anyway,
I hope it's as I want them to make a protagonist as good as Cassandra, because like I enjoyed Valhalla. I think there's a lot
was
of really fun
fine.
stuff there. The second
was
half
fine.
of that game got really repetitive. I don't
It
feel
did.
like
Yes.
I don't feel like they did
I
a
didn't
good
even
job
finish it.
scaling the raiding mechanic up as you got to a higher level, and so it just
Yeah.
is kind of the same thing a lot. Whereas Odyssey with Cassandra was just like a really unreal,
I mean,
a
Odyssey
really unreal
was
narrative.
You're not killing
Odyssey
Nomagarden.
was an amazing standalone RPG. Take out the fact that it was an Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, yeah.
On its own.
Yeah.
I literally have probably 300 hours of gameplay in Assassin's Creed
100%, yeah.
Odyssey.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
so much fun just jumping on the
so-
ship too, just like jumping on the ship and just fucking off into wherever.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah, it's
Valhalla
not
was
an
fun.
Assassin's
I
Creed
enjoyed
game.
it. It's not really an Assassin's Creed game,
But
though.
it's
It's an
such a good game
RPG
that I
with
don't
an
mind.
Assassin's Creed right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
I don't think I
it's gonna be-
assassinated anyone. I was a god and I murdered people with my superpowers. Like,
Yep.
Right. It'll be very interesting to see how they bring Loki in. I feel like he's truly going to be like an anti-hero situation. It's going to be weird because I almost feel like I don't know. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it because he's looking for his children, right?
Yeah,
We know that. And
Yeah,
so-
it looks like they're sticking to the more canonical version of like the actual version of the
Mhm.
Norse mythology.
But I don't think Loki is going to be in the Animus. I think it's going to be a
No.
new protagonist
Yeah, okay.
who we don't know necessarily yet who they are, but I think they're going in to find more information about Loki's backstory. Like, how did he find out that he is?
but the question is, which animal is Loki having sex with to have those children?
That's a great question.
So many.
It really is. It is the one like socially acceptable bestiality tale in such a weird way.
I mean, he makes himself a female horse to give birth to Sleipnir, Odin's six-legged horse.
I mean, yeah. But
that's one thing the Marvel Cinematic Universe has not yet explored, and they need to get in. Like Loki season 2, I really want more Loki as animals.
Yeah, I mean, the only reference to that is the alligator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I love. I have a little stuffed one that we bring with us to Disney. He rides on my shoulder when we go to Disney sometimes.
Of course you do. That does.
We have a couple little guys that ride with us around. we have a Pascal from Rapunzel, a Hey.
But do you have an Iago?
No, I don't have an Iago. I don't.
Well, I can be your Iago, Jafar.
I love it.
And kill the little girl, Jasmine.
Perfect.
That's amazing.
That voice got me a job.
Did it really?
Was it with Affleck?
No, I was auditioning for this concert tour of Japan, and I got to like the final round of callbacks, and Katsu-san, the owner of the orchestra, flew over for callbacks, and I sang and I did my piece. And then they were like, at the bottom of your resume, it says you do like some like impressions of like animated characters. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do like Kermit and Mickey and Iago. And Katsu was like, oh, Iago. And I was like, yeah. And I did the voice. And they're like, great. And then I got it. I was like, okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I spent 4 months touring Japan with the Orchestra Japan.
That's pretty cool.
How cool is that?
Good job. It was fun. We did Tangled. We had like our own little Pascal with us the whole time.
Oh, that's my wife's favorite is Tangled.
It's a good movie.
I like to do that at Disney sometimes. Like I'll be standing behind people in line, and like I'm also pretty tall. I'm like 6'2", and I'm like 250 pounds, and I got beard and tattoos, and I'm bald. So like you don't expect when you hear behind you like hi everybody to like turn around and then see me, and it was me that did it. So I love doing that, and people like or if I see somebody wearing like a Stitch thing, I'll just be like and they'll like look around for a second. I'm like,
I can't believe they're doing live action Lilo and Stitch.
And
live action Moana. Like Moana just came out.
I know. I'm excited while at the same time apprehensive, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, The Rock has to play Maui, right? Like,
have you seen the video?
No.
It's super cute. They did an announcement video today, I think. And it's like The Rock with his 2 daughters on a beach in Hawaii. Oh. And it's like he announced it. It's actually my favorite comment on the YouTube video was that it's the best announcement video for a thing nobody's asking for.
Nice.
Accurate. Oh, he's getting his jetpack. The fun thing that Favreau and Filoni kept saying, like if you watch the
you are
Disney,
protected.
Yeah. The Disney gallery of this, they said that they wanted to use like all of the like the B list and D list characters and droids and references and stuff like that. So like the way he talked about it was like the toys, the Star Wars toys that your older brother like let you play with, the ones that he didn't care about. He's like, so we got like a Boba Fett, an old Boba Fett toy with like, dirty armor, and then we repainted it silver and made it look cool.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, also, I forgot to mention it before, but at the beginning of this episode, when the stormtroopers come in or the end of the last episode, when the stormtroopers come in the carrier, the troop carrier, that's also a super deep cut to a reference to another Kenner toy that was only a Kenner toy. It was this big 8 stormtrooper figure carrier like ground transport that didn't exist in Star Wars, and they put it in the show because of that toy, because they kept like looking for fun deep cut references.
Ouch.
Rosa in the chat says they're making a live action Aristocats as well.
What?
Oh jeez.
They have to change a lot of the Aristocats, right?
A lot. Yeah, there's a lot of questionable things.
That movie's pretty racist.
Yeah. It was
when
very
did it come
racist.
out? In the 50s?
Yeah.
60s?
60s, maybe 50. It could have been the 50s. It might be the 60s. Yeah,
But
there's a lot of Asian,
the Siamese
like,
cats
bad Asian.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't the Siamese cats from Lady and the Tramp?
That too.
I think it's both.
I haven't
they're
seen
in
the
both.
Aristocats since I
I
was
think
like
they did that joke twice.
7.
There's also the like blues band of the cats that are like
That was the bad one.
questionable.
Yeah, the
The
blue, like,
Aristocats came out in 1970.
70. Okay, I mean,
For
still
some reason,
though.
I feel. I mean, it's older than me, which is saying something.
It felt old.
I feel like you can't be too mad at them because they were all on so many drugs.
Oh yeah,
Like everyone was making questionable decisions because
they were doing what in the 70s? Quaaludes, I guess.
Yeah, but the real shit.
Yeah.
I never got to do Quaaludes.
if you and if you did them in the last 30 years, they would be 40 years old. So
I faked doing Quaaludes for a movie, but I've never actually done Quaaludes. I'm sad.
I've never done a designer drug, just mushrooms. This is like
I've done a lot of ecstasy.
Mind altering.
But I wouldn't do ecstasy now. Like ecstasy when I was young was so like safe. You know, it was like real ecstasy. Now with Molly, like you never know.
You never
There's
know.
fentanyl in everything. Like
fentanyl is in everything now.
My drug days are behind me. I stick to the natural shit now.
Yeah. The most mind altering thing I ever did was mushrooms. And it was on a beach at night, which was a bad idea.
I never did any kind of drug at all last year until I was at WatCon and I had my very first edible ever. I've never tried anything my entire life unless it was prescription. And it was a pretty good experience. I'm not going to lie. Like I slept really well and that
use responsibly.
Exactly.
This is for educational purposes only.
For educational purposes only. And only where it's legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
You're in a whole different country, so it's fine.
I mean, I live in
everything's
Texas.
legal. Like, look,
nothing is legal here. So.
I have a significant amount of edibles in my house right now, and nobody can do anything about it. I bought them from the government.
There you go.
You can buy mushrooms in parts of Canada too.
Yep. They're looking into making them legal everywhere for prescription purposes because they're using it to treat PTSD very effectively.
Acid. Like pure LSD has been used for that.
Yeah. Oh, this the in one of the gallery making of scenes, Taika talked about filming the scene. It was really cool. It's really he's quite a character, Taika.
Yeah. I'm curious what he's gonna do next. I feel like following up Thor: Love and Thunder is gonna be tough.
Yeah, I really liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. It wasn't as good as Ragnarok.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed it a lot.
It was a movie that it was a fun time in the theater. It's not something I'm gonna run to put on again.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I agree. I have only rewatched it at home maybe once or twice, and that was watching it with someone who hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen it. Admittedly, I've been on a little bit of Marvel burnout. It's just the TV shows are one thing, right? Also, can we talk about how freaking exciting it is that the Punisher is coming back?
Oh, I know. I love him so much.
John Bernthal. Oh my God.
He's so good.
Yes, I'm curious what a Disney version of Punisher looks like.
I don't think
they said they're not gonna change the character very much. So.
I mean, they have the Netflix shows streaming on Disney Plus. You can watch them.
You can watch them.
Well, in Canada, because we don't have Hulu in Canada, we get Hulu shows on Disney Plus. So Pam and Tommy was on Disney Plus. So you could talk to you could watch Jason Mantzoukas as Tommy Lee's talking penis on Disney Plus next to Moana.
Right. But I'm really, and I just about died when I saw Vincent D'Onofrio come back as Wilson Fisk in Hawkeye. I died. I was like, this is the best thing that's happened in Marvel in ages.
There's a really good reference to IG in season 3 as well.
There really is, yeah. That was almost like IG's Terminator moment.
I know, right?
Yeah. When
just see him sinking in.
It's and he gives a little thumbs up at the end before he,
Oh, I've yet to see anyone in like a battle scarred version of the Mandalorian armor, like cosplay. It's always like pristine and beautiful looking.
Well, yeah, because you want your shit to be shiny
I
when you're
guess.
cosplaying. Like you.
I like seeing like the damaged because I feel like it's harder to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna get it soon.
I'm gonna cosplay as the Razor Crest at Celebration. I'm just gonna carry a trash can around and like with some empty cans in it.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
We last year Twatcast cosplayed as the bush that Matt and Rand slept under in Eye of the World.
Noman Garden says won't change it much, but they made Dee Dee brown and yellow. That's from the comics. That's one of his comic suits.
Yeah. That's a comic. That's more of a comic accurate suit. For
also,
like,
people were one of my favorite things about the like backlash to that episode of She-Hulk is all the people who are like, why would Daredevil be like a man whore like this? And I'm like, have you read Daredevil?
Yeah, have you ever read?
He sleeps
Daredevil?
with everybody in the comics.
Everyone, not just Black Cat. Everybody.
Oh no, everyone. That's why he has so much Catholic guilt.
So much premarital sex.
He's like, oh my God, Pastor, I did it again.
Oh, and I
this
almost
one
killed
was
5
9
people.
feet tall and green, but I couldn't resist.
I had premarital sex.
My type. They were just my type for this evening.
I could see him. I could see him in the confessional booth. I had premarital sex. I took the Lord's name in vain 3 times. I beat 6 people half to death. I broke 4 people's arms.
And I had more premarital sex after that.
Yeah.
Also, I lie with every word that comes out of my mouth because I can see. Like, I'm not like functionally as blind as I let people believe.
I don't think they said if Foggy is coming back, right?
No, he's not.
No,
he's not, right?
He's not, and neither is
Deborah and Wall.
Yeah.
Wall, right. She's great. I loved her in everything. True Blood, though.
Yeah.
True Blood was such a great show. Yeah. Give me some. Yeah, never mind. I'll stop.
It was good. Lafayette was my favorite character in that.
Give you some what?
Give me some Joe Manganiello and some
Oh yeah, I forgot Manganiello.
Oh yeah, hello.
I still will randomly just be
and
like
some Alexander Skarsgård, please. Like, yeah, I'm here for all of that. 6'5", 6'6", all of it. Yes. Anyway, sorry. The acting was so great in that show. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Lafayette was my favorite character.
Lafayette was the best character.
I'm so glad they didn't kill him.
Yeah. I actually read several of those books from Charlene Harris.
He's so cute.
He's adorable. He is literally like
the behind the scenes stuff with him, like when they show like the puppeteers doing him. It's so great.
And I love the fact that they're staying with practical effects for a lot of. I like that they've done that with most of Star Wars stuff, right? Like it's practical effects that you see. I love that because it's just so easy to CGI stuff, and
now even with the digital stuff, it's not like there is still CGI, but it's not all CGI. Even with the digital stuff, they have that new technology. I forgot what it's called. It's like a screen that
volume.
Yeah, the volume. Rory was talking about that too because he got to act with it I'm not
gonna. I struggle with the volume.
Okay.
I think that there's times when it's used really well. I also think even in like Mando and Book of Boba Fett, there's times where
it looks a little cheesy.
I don't love the way they use it. Because there's a limited amount of space, right? Like there's a distance that you can travel. And so for some stuff like the scooter bike chase in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Okay.
You can, I know how far every shot is going to go because there's only so far those scooters can get in that set.
Right.
And it like I feel like it slows down the action.
I guess if you understand, that was, what's his name?
Queel.
Was that Nick Nolte's character?
Yeah.
Okay.
The woman that was in the suit for that too she's amazing. She apparently is like a super like I mean, she is famous, but like, most people don't know who she is, but you've seen her in tons of movies. She's like a go-to suit actor because it's like not an easy thing to do to be able to act with like all that stuff on.
I believe it.
And like, to be able to get the cues right, and you have all the servos and motors around your head so you can't really hear, and like you have to understand where the face is and the eyes are and the mouth is to like look at things. And she's just really good at it. So like they use her in a lot of stuff that requires to wear things like that.
It's tough work. Those suits are like, they're hard to wear.
Yeah. I can only imagine how heavy they are too.
I had to wear a big head thing from Men in Black 3. And it was like,
were you
in the
an
background
alien?
of like the Andy Warhol like party scene. And I was just this big alien thing in the back. But I was wearing this like 50-pound helmet thing on my shoulders.
Oh my goodness.
That was brutal.
I would see, and I have to go watch it and see if I can pick you out.
You can't see me. Like it's full. I couldn't see anything. It was full.
Well,
coverage.
if I could pick out the alien that you are.
There's like 4 of them in the background of the scene. There's just
okay. Here it comes.
I don't even know really how to describe it.
Yes!
There it is.
Yes!
It's right there.
I loved this entire storyline in Rebels. I loved everything about it. It was so freaking good.
I hope Sabine comes to train Mando on how to use the Darksaber. Oh, it's so cool.
He looks very angry. A game I've never played is a Far Cry game. I need to play Far Cry.
Yeah, because he was just the villain in 6, right?
In 6, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
6,
it's good.
Yeah.
I played 6. 6 was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
so good.
It's
great
so
shot.
good.
Yeah, all of these concept art things that they have in this are just fantastic. All right, now it's time to close the poll. Let's see how we did.
T-Low, T-Low, T-Low.
It reports in the thing. Yeah, okay.
It looks like you're doing The Last of Us.
Yep. Looks like it's gonna be Last of Us. Yeah, that push. Like they were close. Witcher was like a couple ahead, but it's from the other polls. But yeah, it's gonna be Last of Us.
Don't get me wrong. Henry Cavill as Geralt is pretty
I'm not really looking forward to budget Helmsworth for the new stuff. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a long way off.
It's a long way off. They still have to come out with the next season.
They still
right.
Here's the thing: the next season has to do well because Blood Origin was kind of a disaster for Netflix,
abysmal.
Right?
Yeah, it was abysmal.
It was, but I still watched it and loved it in its own disastrous way. Mostly because of Michelle Yeoh, because like you could put her in anything, and
that's fair. I'm not even talking about like how it came out. I mean like the amount of work they put into making 6 episodes,
right?
And the amount of money they left on the table in everything they cut to bring it down to 4, so that they had something to put out. Like, that was tough.
Very.
That's just a lot of money,
So much money. Like, and Netflix is so notorious for just canceling crap.
Yeah, and if audiences don't show up for the next season of The Witcher because they know that Henry Cavill's done,
right?
Look at what just happened with Shazam 2, where people are like, oh well, the DCEU is moving on. Like, why would we go? Is this movie even a part of it anymore?
Exactly. Like,
I think they shot themselves in the foot with the announcement. But.
Yeah, they should have waited. They should have waited until after all of the stuff came out. I don't know who thought it was a good idea, but maybe they thought like, oh, people will go see it because they want. No, they're not going to see it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how the next season of The Witcher does. I also think that the next season of The Witcher is a tough one in terms of like the narrative of that world.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they follow the story, like there's so many questions there with what they're doing with that, and especially
Henry Cavill on that show though.
He was great, but like the reason he left was because of how much they were deviating from, not just that they were changing stuff. He felt he like I saw someone piece together a lot of the stuff that he said over the last year, and it was like he felt that they were departing from the heart of the story, and like so. Mm-hmm. That makes me think maybe we're not going to get some of the stuff, and that the stuff that they're giving us is bad.
Well, I mean, it must be difficult too when you have somebody who's such a fan of the show already. Like he's admittedly a huge fan of the content of the books and the story
and the game,
and the game. And and to have creative differences for what you think the character should do, a character who you love and are embracing, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this 40K stuff, because
I'm really excited about that. Like,
Warhammer
We'll
40K is, I mean, it's a very niche.
if it gets made.
The thing, 40K is very niche, right? Like, it's got a very specific, as far as the TTRPG stuff goes, it's a very specific niche group.
The wargaming, absolutely.
I'm a person who I have painted thousands of. I've spent my
Why am
lion's
I
share of
not
money
surprised
on
by that?
Warhammer minis. Look, I had arguably the largest Dark Elf army you could have back when Dark Elves were still part of the game, before they got rid of Malekith and my boys. But I think that making the announcement when it's just Henry Cavill's in it and we don't have a writer and we don't know if it's going to be a TV show or a movie, like I feel like they're years and years away from anything coming out. It's massive. There's nothing small in that world. There's no bottle episode in Warhammer 40K. You know what I mean?
And the costuming alone is going to be crazy.
Yeah. So I'm curious what they're going to do, because I saw that announcement and I was like, really, Amazon? Because all the streamers are starting to pull back financially. So Warhammer 40K is going to Amazon. When we interviewed Rafe a couple of months ago, we got to talk about God of War. Rafe is show running God of War, so they're picking up God of War.
Yeah. Are they going to cast you as Kratos? Because
I would cry a lot, but I don't think I
would say no. Christopher Judge is going to murder whoever gets that part if it's not him.
It's true.
No, and you know what? And
I hope it's him. I hope it's him.
He literally won a BAFTA for it. What, 3 days ago?
3 days ago. Yeah. His acceptance speech was amazing.
No.
Yes.
I'm so curious. I'm so curious about the God of War show.
They said, Rafe said when we talked to him, I think they've been working on it for a few months at this point, like, in talks with the developers of the game, the writers of the game. They've been, working on it for a few months, but they hadn't had any kind of pen to paper stuff yet. So
it's so fascinating. And this is not in any way a dig at Rafe Judkins. But listening to the way that he talks about Wheel of Time and what he says he likes about Wheel of Time, and he uses the phrase a lot, like it's really just about two people in a room having a conversation. That is not what God of War is. And so I'm very curious what draws him to that project, considering what from a distance, I've never met the man, I've never spoken to him. So from a distance, what I see as what he sees as creatively fulfilling. I'm curious what drew him to the project, just because of that. I think I think God of War is a really, really hard property to do in live action, because there's only two characters that are real. Like, everything else, it has to be CGI. You can't do it practically.
No.
And so
especially with the things that are humongous,
Right.
Yeah. Well, especially if they go back to the Greek God of War times, the first 3 games, I think it would be a little bit easier. But if they're trying to tell the 2014 or 2018 game and the recent Ragnarok in the show, not to spoil that world, but there's no people.
Right.
Yeah. There's almost no one in the show. It's just him and the two dwarves. That's it.
And as much as I love the Wheel of Time show, I will defend that online a lot.
Oh, me too.
But I do think that the action was an element of it that wasn't the strongest. That wasn't the strongest point of the show.
I agree.
And so doing a show that is essentially a character that does not speak, mostly fighting.
It just grunts the majority of the time.
If you told me the directors of John Wick are making God of War, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. That seems like what they like to do.
Yeah.
And
he said he likes the game.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see what his version of it is, right? I'm not against the idea of it. I would be really interested to hear just given the way he talks about Wheel of Time, what it was about God of War that he was like, that's the next thing I want to do. Yeah. Maybe it's just different,
I'll write. I'm going to take note of that. If we talk to him again, I'll make sure to ask him.
That's a fair question. I mean,
I want to talk to him so much, but he would not answer any of the questions that I have, because I'd be like, okay, this thing happens in book 8.
Yeah,
that can't happen on television. So
how are you going to do this?
you can't 2 on is a no, right? For the most part, like you're gonna have to adapt that in a very different way for modern audiences.
I think it would be very interesting if they did not really heavily adapt Tuon, because I think there's a lot of, especially current events, that having a character like Tuon and a governmental structure like the Shanshan in a show could be very relevant to what's going on right now in our country. I think it could be pretty interesting to see. I hope they really don't change Tuon, because she's such a what's the word I'm looking for? Controversial character.
Yeah.
And
I don't think they can do it. I legitimately think that if they were to have her as a character, the blowback on the show would be immense in a way that like I haven't read the end of her story, so like I don't really know where it goes. But at the point I'm at in Knife of Dreams, like I think that you would end the conversation around that character and the way that she's portrayed, being a Black woman and also being this character who's like so ingrained in slavery. I think that I think that you run into an issue of like I don't think they could do it.
It's tough.
I think they have to change something about it.
And it's not even just like the Suldam and the Damin. It's like the Dakovale and like all of the like.
Yeah, I mean, their whole society is built on slavery. Yeah. Their whole society is just like the American South was based in slavery.
Yeah, I mean, they're Texan. That's what they are. Like they're
right. But I think that when you take that and make that character Black, and then
that's what makes it tough. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
That's where I think that the blowback on especially if Rafe Judkins is the showrunner and you have this like white man who is putting on a show. I think that the optics of that are so complicated that I don't know that you get away with it. Right.
No, I see what you're saying.
I think that there's that has to be adapted in a way that modern audiences will not just immediately revolt against it. And that's tough, right? I think that the Sanchin just in general are going to be tough. Yep. And I'm really curious to see how season 2 hits the wider audience with the introduction of that.
I know they're already doing season 3, so season 3 is probably going to come out regardless. But like season 2 is going to make or break. So 100%. I really hope they go all out
in 2026 when it hits your internet.
Beyonce's internet.
Right. Exactly.
I remember I was on I was doing when the sizzle dropped, Allie from The Wheel Takes and I had like a full-on argument. Not like in a bad way, but just like in like a fun, she's a screenwriter, I'm an actor, like we both work in the industry, just about like the because I was like, oh, this sizzle reel, if the show is coming out in 3 months, this is a bad piece of marketing. And Allie was like, no, if the show's come out in 3 months, it's fine. It's not that bad. And then those 3 months passed and I was like, oh, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. Yeah.
That was like all. 7 months ago now. Yeah. I was like, they haven't even started their marketing push because, we don't have a date, but it was we were having this like totally irrelevant argument about just a semantic idea of, well, if the trailer is this far out from this date, then what kind of trailer should it be? And now we're looking at it like
Never
August.
Mind. Yeah.
Wheel of Time Origins season 2 in August 2022.
I think it's going to be third quarter. I think the earliest we'll see it is October.
Do you think they're going to drop a trailer at JordanCon?
No. No, and not unless it's coming out in the summer, right? Like because at that point you're spacing out your teasers by like 6 months. 6 months before a teaser, 6 months before the
That's not how Amazon. That's not how Amazon markets things. It's usually a month before the show comes out is when
we've got to get. I mean, because at JordanCon last year we had the big reveal, the casting for Avienda, right, with Ayula Smart, and so
Rafe is you finish what you were saying. Sorry,
I was just going to say that I really hope that they do something similar to that for folks at JordanCon, because honestly, in my opinion, and I'm a Wheel of Time stan, the show is almost irrelevant at this point because it's been so long since the first season came out. Mind you, and this is not the only show that does this, right? Yeah. But the lack of
anything.
continuing the hype for it. You know,
Yeah.
like they were freaking on an international stage last year talking about dropping 2 more episodes of Origins,
Yep.
and they publicly announced it, and then they
Yep.
totally
Didn't
dropped the
do it.
ball.
Yep.
And there have
Well,
been
and the joke, the
no
Twitter joke about why it
was
didn't come out,
so
about the
bad.
intern spilling a cup of coffee was so
It
tone
was
deaf.
so
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
so
and
bad.
there's been ever since that tweet, there was never any follow-up about
Yeah.
when they were gonna come out. And so I just think at this point it's been as far as the Wheel of Time show goes, with communication, it's been a bunch of bad optics, you know.
Well,
So
and the problem, so the problem that I have with it is not, it's not on anyone working on the Wheel of Time, but
it's
it goes
Amazon.
to Carnival Row, right?
Yeah,
Where like
Carnival
Carnival Row, I really loved the
yeah.
first season of Carnival
Me
Row.
too.
Really enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
was a big fan. I was waiting for season 2, and then I was live doing one of our shows. I can't even remember which one. And they're like, "Oh yeah, Carnival Row season 2 comes out tomorrow." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking
What?
about? I'm a fan of this property."
And I still
It came out
haven't
like
heard
a month and a half ago, right?
Yep.
And like, I was like, "Oh yeah, they're not marketing it." And I was like, "Well," and look, I can't speak ill of Amazon Prime right now, for reasons I can't talk about. Amazon Prime, you're the best. Thank you
You're
so much
so great.
for your money.
My opinions are not my own.
No, my opinions are my own.
Are my
and
own,
I love Amazon
that's what I
Prime. And I'm very excited. Clarus is on a movie that's going to Amazon Prime on April 15th called Parasite Lady. And then I will be on a TV show on Amazon Prime later this year. But I can't talk about it. So Prime, I love you. But the way that you dropped Carnival Row season 2 was bad.
It was bad.
And
It was not amazing.
And I'm just worried. I'm like, oh, if that's the amount of marketing they're giving second seasons of shows that had gangbuster leads, like the leads of Carnival Row are way more famous than the leads of, other than Rosamund Pike. Like,
other than Rosamund Pike, yeah.
But like Orlando Bloom's Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
I love Rosamund Pike, but
And
Orlando Bloom is Will Turner.
And that was what, 5 years ago? So he was still
4 years
ago.
between.
So he was pretty, like 4 years ago, he was more relevant than he is now. So it was even bigger.
So, but I'm concerned, like looking at the way Carnival Row season 2 is marketed, I'm concerned about Wheel of Time season 2 because I think there was this moment last year where Rings of Power and House of the Dragon were like, fantasy is the big bad in entertainment right now. And I was like, oh, if we can get some fantasy properties going, Dungeons and Dragons movies coming out next year, I was like, oh, we could have this, like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe feels like it's on a little bit of a colder moment. Maybe fantasy can have its time. And I was like, oh, if we can get Wheel of Time in like January, February, we can ride this wave. And I feel like the wave is kind of just it's the ocean again. Yeah. And the Wheel of Time is going to have to build its own hype because it can't go off of the Rings of Power numbers. Yeah. And
it's going to have to.
They're going to have to do way more than they did.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I mean, and there's like no merch. There's no, like, maybe if it'll come out around the time that the rings come out, the swords come out, and then like, Witcher season 2 will be probably coming out, or the new season, Witcher season 3 will be coming out around the same time. Hopefully, maybe, and HBO will probably start marketing for the next season of House of the Dragon, at the end of this year. So we'll see.
Yeah, the merch thing's a question I've been having a lot. Is like
who dropped the ball on that? Like, seriously.
Well, and I think that what's interesting is that is a show problem. Is that they leaned the show away from designs that make merch easily. Yeah. Like the way that they designed the way gates. When I view the way gates in my head, I have this like very illustrative kind of vision. And look at what the Mines of Moria doors did for Lord of the Rings. Like, and I think that like
super simple too.
The Waygate is really cool in Wheel of Time in its functionality, and it's not a knock on the show. I like the choice that they made for the show, but in this modern era where Stranger Things is Netflix's biggest show, not because of the numbers, but actually because it makes $1 billion a year in marketing, I feel like the show didn't give Amazon Prime a lot of marketable merch things. By not introducing Elaine, you don't get to meet the Golden Lion of Andor, which could have been very merchandisable. The shawls that the Aes Sedai wear aren't in the show, and so you can't sell those scarves. Look at what the scarves do for Harry Potter merchandise. Like, And so when you're talking about like the business side of television, then the nickels and dimes of Wheel of Time are a little confusing to me at times because it doesn't have visual hallmarks that I feel a lot of these other shows do a really good job of being like, you're going to want to buy this and you're going to want to buy this. Do you want the rings from Rings of Power? Do you want the house crests from Game of Thrones?
Exactly.
And the thing is, the books have them, right? Like the 9 golden bees of Ilion is such a visual thing. The shawls, there's so much in that world. The heron marked blades, like
I did like the way they showed the golden bees in the Blood Snow.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
And the thing, but like they definitely dropped the ball with the Aes Sedai. Like the Ajas, like they could have done so much with like, you know, the like, what Aja are you, and like, are you blue, are you green, like, you know, is your friend red and are you blue? Like they could have t-shirts, they could have all kinds of. They dropped the ball on the memes, like just the memes of blue and green and yellow, and they absolutely could have marketed just the Aes Sedai, and then the Aes Sedai and the Gaidin, like marketing those two together for, you know, couples and stuff like that.
But maybe they'll sell like Gaishan robes.
Oh God.
Well, actually,
that's a little rough too.
The white robes front, that one might be a little. You have to be very careful with what the shape of the top part of those robes are.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The serpent. See, spooters too. Yeah, the serpent rings, like the serpent rings in that they used to have on Badali jewelry were so much easier to market too, and they're so much easier to make. I have
one of those rings. Yeah.
And now these new ones are going to be so much like.
Because you need a giant stone in them, like they're so
and they're gaudy. They're gaudy too. It's not like it's not something
really
that you could wear every day. It's not something you could wear out. You know, like where the Aes Sedai ring, is something that you could, you know, you would practically pay for a gold one or a silver one because it's something you could wear all the time. But this new one, I can't see a lot of people buying. You know, a lot of them. They're not going to be as widely purchased. You know, they'll be niche. The same thing with the swords. Like swords for everything that were niche because like. You know, people will buy them and people will spend money on them, but not the amount of people that would buy that bought Harry Potter stuff because you could buy a scarf. Everyone wears a scarf.
Right.
Well, and that's just where that. But I understand from the show perspective, them being like, no, we want the world to feel like our world, and we're not thinking about the merchandising. And I think that like that's
where they drop the ball. That's bad though. That's bad.
But and I think that like when it comes to the money side of it. It gets a little bit harder to finish your series if you can't make the other things, right?
Yes.
I don't think that Wheel of Time action figures are going to sell well. And so you kind of have to come up, and that's why Narg should have been in it. And like, but seriously, like the drag car, not showing the drag car, I think is like, it's a cool Bat Monster thing. That's a toy that you can sell.
That's a toy that you could sell. A Trolloc.
I know you shouldn't write TV to the toys that you can sell, but in the modern age, that's kind of,
merchandising
is so huge, right?
Merchandising is big, and especially with
everything.
With our like, you know, younger Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z, we love our crap. You know, we love our stuff. Like we're maximalists in that
4-foot tall Grogu.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, you know, we don't buy diamond rings and Rolexes, but you know, we'll buy the crap out of that stuff.
I mean, give me a Hopper stuffed animal, and I would buy it in a second.
Exactly.
Like.
They made really terrible plushies back in the day that I had a Trolloc one. I think I lost it in Hurricane Sandy, but that were just terrible. Like the merch from the past years has been good, but it's all been fan stuff.
So. Right.
Where were you for Sandy?
New York. I lived on Long Island.
Oh shit. I was in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah. No, I lived in Long Beach, which is like if you see a picture of Long Island, there's like, you know, the big island and then there's tiny little strips of island on the bottom. It's one of those.
Wild. Yeah.
It was not good.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah. We had 9 feet of water in the house. We had a 30-foot boat went by our house. It was crazy in the street. Like it was insane. And I worked for the state at the time. So we had to I was working like 16-hour days after that. And no, it was nonsense.
Yeah. I'm curious. I think the season 2 is going to be fascinating. I think that
there's so much that can happen into so much channeling too.
I also think that by condensing the 2 books down to one narrative, I think that it's either going to be like very exciting for readers and for other people, or it's going to be It's tough. I think that what's going to happen is they're going to start marketing it's coming back. People will have forgotten the first season. Not everybody. Like, I remember it. We're going to do a rewatch thing where we like go into it now that we're readers and look back at our old videos and do like what we thought when we hadn't read a single book versus now. Yeah. But I think that the people who love the series are going to be the first ones to watch it again. And if those people aren't happy with the adaptation, I think it's going to be really tough. And I don't know which direction it's going to go, right? I think having been through 11 books now, I think heavily adapting it is better than not for TV. I think there's a lot in this that
it has to be adapted very heavily.
Oh yeah, absolutely, super heavily. I mean,
because there's stuff you can't do. Like there's stuff in these books that cannot be done on a television budget, and so finding a way to keep it as interesting as the books without the ability to have 100,000 Trollocs come out of the woods one night, that's tough. And I think so. I think that the book cloaky people are going to have to give up on the book cloakiness a little bit, just because it's not possible. There's too much. And
not even just from a money perspective. There's just stuff that just doesn't work on screen.
100%. Yeah.
There's plenty of scenes and dialogue.
There's too many characters.
Yeah, way too many. Well, I mean, we know that they cut down.
Literally from like a union perspective, budgetarily, you physically cannot have 2,700 named characters in 8 seasons of television. Like, it just there's no way to pull that off, right?
Yeah, with the amount of speaking, with the amount of time you'd have to allot to each person, like from a union standpoint, like you wouldn't be able to pull it off.
So yeah, I'm curious. I'm excited for season 2. I'm so excited to see what they do without the constraints of COVID that hampered, I think, the end of the season a little bit.
Yep.
And so like I'm a big I want it, right? Like I think that Great Hunt and Dragon Reborn have incredible stuff in it.
Agree.
And I want them to get into season 3 because I want that Emmons Field fight. You know what I mean? Like I want that. I want some of the.
I think we're gonna get so Shadow Rising and a little bit of Fires of Heaven by season 3. I think in season 3 we're gonna be in book 4 for sure. I think they're gonna be in the Isle Waste by, if not the end of if not the middle of season 3, by 100% by the end of season 3, they will be in the Isle Waste.
Oh, I think they're gonna be there in season 2.
You mean season 2?
You think season 2 they're gonna go?
Oh yeah, Rand is gonna be over there
already in the beginning.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I probably have very different opinions on what you guys think.
I don't know. I think that
I don't think we're going to see Kalendor in season 2. I think we're going to see Kalendor in the first couple of episodes of season 3. I don't think Tyr is even going to be a big deal in season 2. I think it's going to be the very beginning of season 3. We're going to see stuff go down.
I think penultimate episode, like the setup for season 2, we'll see Tyr, we'll see the stone, and we'll still see Kalendor in a vision, maybe in a dream.
Well, yeah, but I don't think Rand is going to claim Kalendor in season 2.
I think that'll be. I think we'll get a mid-season climax with the stone and Kalendor.
Because honestly,
I don't think he's going to claim Kalendor in the right order. I think we're going to go all the way over to do the. I think we're going to go do Ruidian at the top of season 3. We're going to go he's going to become, and then he's going to take the stone with the Aiel instead of doing it twice. Just do it once, and then you take out the Shido going to Kyrian, and the Shido go to Tyr instead. And so Rand saves the stone from the Shido and claims Kalendor in one fell swoop, because then you skip some of the bouncing around between the two later on.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have him come back from the Isle Waste and come back up that way.
Yeah, so there's not much making him have to do with them.
But then how does Rand meet the Isle in that?
Well, we know Avienda is going to be in season 2, so.
Well, Avienda is going to be in season 2, but Perrin meets Avienda. That's
I honestly I don't know. I think that one of the weird things is going to have to be that one of the big elements of the first 4 books has to be cut. Like, you can't. I don't think that they do. And partially, this was something we talked about when we were doing the reading, was that the ends of book 2 and 3 structurally do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And so they retread a plot point. And so, like, if Kalendor is in Falma and Rand gets it and only fights Baalzamon one more time, I could see them cutting Falma and Tyr into just one place and just getting rid of one of those narratives, because
we only have
it is kind of the same beat.
but they're also getting rid of Belial and Bothamel. So like an Agenor, like they're not in it. Like we only
They're
have
getting rid of Agenor.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know Ishamael is in it. We know Lanfear is in it. But we know one of, or at least like we're pretty sure that one of those they show the 7 or 8 statues. One of them looks like Samael. Like one of them, he is bearded, he has a scar, he looks like Samael.
Yeah.
And one of them looks like
short.
Asmodean because
one of them looks like Asmodean because he has a guitar or a lute or a violin.
Whatever. Yeah.
But then
I'm still pissed. Y'all, I have not gotten to the end and I'm still mad about Asmodean. Like,
do you know,
yeah.
Who do you think killed him, by the way? No one say anything in chat. No one.
Look, here's my thing. As the Brandon Asmodean to me is the best of like these books. I was so into it, and then he just dies seemingly for no narrative reason, and nobody cares. And I'm frustrated. Like it's been 7 novels or like 6 novels since this happened. Yeah, and I'm upset about it to this day. And I'm like, Robert James Jordan. Robert James Jordan. It has been so long, and it's not even like I need to know who killed him. I would just like for Rand to occasionally acknowledge that happened. And Asmodean hasn't even come up. Asmodean taught him all this stuff, and he's like, "Oh, Luce Theron is teaching me all these tricks." And I'm like, "No, there was a character in these books at one point who taught you this stuff. I read it, and you've ignored him. You've forgotten him."
Right. I want to make you more mad now too. So Robert Jordan, when this happened, like the big thing for years was who killed Asmodean. There was who killed Asmodean T-shirts, who killed Asmodean bumper stickers. He always said, anytime he was asked about it, that he felt there was more than enough information in the books to accurately know who killed Asmodean. Like he didn't think that it was going to be this big of a deal. And everyone was always like, "Fuck you. Get the hell out of here." Especially because he would usually follow up that with, and then only one person has ever correctly guessed it in my presence. Like, like in a signing, he's like, I've seen people say it on the internet, but like in a signing coming up to me, I've only had one person correctly guess it. So I think he understood what he was doing. He just liked toying with us. Like if I was a writer though, I would also like toying with people because that's fun.
I think that there's a level, one of the things that I find Allie's our dear one. Allie's pretty smart. Allie's also a writer, so I feel like there's definitely some writer stuff going on there.
Yeah. I like Rafe's nickname is R2J2.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful. I know the answer comes. I know that there is an answer in the Brandon Sanderson stuff. I'm hopeful at this point it's tough because I'm like, I don't know that I care anymore, which is tough. Because I don't know how you bring that up in the books at this point and still have it be relevant to just how much time has passed. But once we get there, I'm going to be really curious to see how I feel about the reveal.
Okay.
Because it's far away enough now that I'm like, it could be it doesn't matter who it could be. It could be, it could be once they revealed that people can hide their weaves.
Yes.
Or invert their flows. It's well, then it literally could be anyone at that point, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting.
If it was a channeler at all.
Yeah. Or it was Guidel Kane, or I don't know.
Guidel Kane came in with
some other extremely ugly man.
For years, I won't say anything because if I say who I thought it was and then it wasn't, I'll give it'll be.
Yes, no, we're not going there.
No, I don't want to.
No spoilers.
Do you think we get Asmodean in season 2?
I think we're gonna get more than just Lanfear. Like everyone's saying, like we'll get the hands that Ishamael is grabbing as Lanfear. I think we're gonna get more Forsaken than just Ishamael and Lanfear. I think we're gonna get a bunch. I think in that the teaser reel where they're sitting around the table, I think there's at least 4 Forsaken sitting at that table.
Not doing Agenor and Belthamel is really disappointing to me if they cut them entirely.
I hope they do Agenor because I hope they cut Demandred and they do Agenor. Like Agenor's storyline is so much more interesting than Demandred's storyline. Demandred is just a really powerful channeler who looks almost as good as Luce Theron, who is almost as smart as Luce Theron, and who did things almost as well as Luce Theron, but he didn't. And that's his entire.
this is where you and I disagree. We had this conversation
Yes.
a couple weeks ago,
but
I think though you can
Agenor is a
I don't-
literal molecular biologist. Like he created the Trollocs. Like that's so much more interesting.
I don't think that you can blend Agenor with somebody else, but I do think that Demandred, Raven, and Samael within a television series could be the same character. And
yeah,
that way Raven and Samael don't both go down in one fight the way they do in the books.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
have a character that recurs and is because one of the things I've said about the books a lot, and anyone who's seen our show knows this, is I'm like, the villains are kind of like chumps. Like the villains are terrible
Absolutely.
at winning. They never win. And I've heard that like that gets a little bit better in the Brandon Sanderson stuff. But like the villains are the heroes never lose a fight. They lose people and like there are moments where they get kidnapped, but they never actually like lose at the end of the book. We always reset back to and the heroes have won, right? Except like through the saga where like, you know, Fael's kidnapped for a long time. But
it's not even villains there. It's the Shido.
Right.
It's not even
so
like, you know.
I think taking like Raven, Samael, and Demandred and having those three big fights, but not having the Forsaken, the big bad of 3,000 years ago who's supposed to have these godly powers and be undefeatable to modern times, not having them lose quite so often and having them survive a fight or draw a fight and come back for the fight million and then come back for whatever. I don't even know what Demandred does. He's done literally nothing.
Literally
in the 11
nothing.
books I've read. He just shows up and drinks fine wine in the gardens of wherever the fuck. I think that those three characters could easily be condensed to one character in a way that I don't know how you replace Halima. Halima is actually relevant to like 9 books. Like she's there.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know how you get rid of Deshiva, right? Like Deshiva's death is fascinating and his relationship with Rand and being by his side, but being, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like back to the statues again. So we have Samael, we have Asmodean, we know we have Ishmael. There's one more male statue, and that's it. Yeah. So like there's Ravine, Agenor, Balthamel, and Demandred. That person could be. Now, whatever the name ends up being of that Forsaken is irrelevant. It's the backstory and who the character is and was that's the most relevant. And like you said, they could combine Demandred and Ravine pretty easily. And they could combine him with Samael pretty easily too, because all of their backstories are the same. Like they're all the same.
Yep.
And even Ishmael isn't even that different, right? Ishmael's the same as them, but he goes crazy. Like
but he's insane. Yeah.
The women, the female Forsaken are so much more varied than the male Forsaken are.
Much more varied. The only male Forsaken, there's all of the male Forsaken, and then Agenor and Asmodean. Like all of the other male Forsaken are the same character. And Agenor and Forsaken are the only Agenor and Asmodean are the only two different ones. Like we have a musician and we have a molecular biologist. And then I mean like Ishmael was a philosopher, so yeah, cool. But like he created all of the Shadow Spawn. Like that's so cool. I would love to see that, especially like on screen. You know, like him toying with something in the you know current setting of the show would be crazy. That would be so much more interesting.
It gives you something to do other than just have them fight Rand, right?
Yeah, and be mad because they're not as strong as him.
Yeah, I think that Agenor is just fascinating. I love that character, and they're around more. Yeah, it's weird that like
I mean they could do. I mean, it's apparent we're not getting Agenor as Agenor and Balthamel as Balthamel, but we might see Deshiva and Halima come in. Maybe they're like the Forsaken everybody forgot about. Maybe because you know it's legend and there's only 8 of them, but who's to say that there aren't more that time has forgotten? So maybe that'll be like a reveal. Is we meet Deshiva without knowing that he has this backstory. You know what I mean? It would be very interesting to see if they do that, because I love Halima. I love the just the entire take of they could really use Halima as a chance to get rid of the duality, the issue that the male female thing. If they do incorporate someone like Halima, they could make it relevant to today with
Yeah.
with the LGBTQ movement and stuff like that. I think it would be
I just
really
hope that's not the
interesting.
only trans character.
No.
that's in the show.
But you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
they could really
It is always
use
a thing,
'cause
right?
it's a
Like, it's like
major character, and it could be a really good touch point
Yeah.
to keep things relevant to today.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of modernize Jordan's writing, because that is a valid comment that people have. I mean, the stuff he wrote is 20 to 30 years old now, plus from when he started writing in the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I mean, they already kind of updated it a little bit with with the way with the way sex is portrayed in the Two Rivers. Like in the books, it's very puritanical. No sex before marriage. They don't even talk about sex. Like it's bad. Like in the books. Bad.
I'm not gonna
Damn
lie.
it, Tom. Now I have a Salt and Pepper song in my head.
Sorry.
I have a bone to pick with the sex on the show, though.
Okay.
Because they have sex in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It is so weird. Look,
So
I don't love Brandon and Egwene having sex in the first episode, just because I didn't mind it when we did our watch. I was like, oh, this is fun, whatever. They're young, they're stupid. Yeah. But then as soon as I read Fires of Heaven, I was like, oh no, but we lose this, right? Like this moment where Rand and Aviendha lose their virginity together in an igloo in another continent. Like I was like, oh, like that moment is so good that I am a little bit upset about for that reason. But the bigger reason I have a problem with it is that if your parents are upstairs and you work in an inn where people can come and go at any time of day or night, right? Like you are in the one building in town where it makes sense for someone to walk in at 2:00 in the morning and you're having sex with your boyfriend on the kitchen table where you cook food. Yeah. What if someone comes down and wants a cup of tea?
And then they go from the kitchen to the common room because then they're in front of the fireplace.
I'm sorry, but I have lived in wooden buildings like that and sound travels like a motherfucker. Yeah. There is no way, like. And so I was just like, first of all, how many times have they had sex that they're like, you know what? We fuck all the time. Let's do it in the kitchen because it's still novel to us. Like, I'm just, that scene to me, it's so strange because every time I watch it, I'm like, your parents are in this house with you right now. And this is the fucking kitchen.
Yeah, it was a little, that was the sus part. That was the sus part that it was just so public.
But, it's just the location. I like them having sex, whatever. I get it. You want to you want to kind of Game of Thrones it. You want to it was just like, I was like, you work there and your parents just left the room.
Yeah.
Left the room.
They were waiting.
Half the village just left the room. There was 30 people in there a minute ago.
They were standing there cleaning dishes going, as soon as her parents are out of the room, I am inside of her. Yeah. It's wild.
Did they ever finish the dishes?
I don't think so. He interrupted with his pocket berries or his pocket.
I don't think they could get them clean now because they're filthy.
Yeah.
They need to leave those dishes alone before they give chlamydia to the whole damn time.
My goodness.
Syphilis. Everyone's gonna get syphilis. You're gonna be walking around.
My goodness.
I read the like leaked script that came out, and I am glad they cut the Matt going down on the girl to steal her bracelet scene.
Me too.
I struggle, honestly, like I struggle with the way Matt is portrayed before Shia Ghul or Shadar Lagoff on the show. I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what they do to rehab that character into a new actor, which is always a really hard thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad they cut that just because as much as using sexual violence against women is very common in the Wheel of Time books, starting with that character in particular, considering what happens to him later on, it's a little bit tough. And I don't know. I'm glad that didn't make it into the show, even though he does steal from her, and the elements of it are still there. But
it's implied, right?
Yeah. It's just tough. That's not the character. I don't know.
It's not the character that he is in the books, but I feel like the type of person that he is more. It's more likely that type of like his personality comes from a person who comes from his type of family situation, a broken home.
Oh, sure. 100%. And like it does work in a way, right? Like I'm not totally against it. It's just I think it's hard to get on board with the character if the first thing you see him do is steal from a woman while having sex with her, right? Like I think that's a tough starting place for a character that's supposed to that is supposed to ultimately be a very moral centerpiece for a lot of the narrative, right? There's periods where Rand and Perrin act as these like moral guide stones for Rand as he becomes a darker and darker version of himself. And if those characters, you know, Perrin has killed his wife, and Matt, like the moral centers of these books in a lot of ways, who are very devoutly moral in the reading that I've done. Without that, I don't know who Rand as a character leans on, the way that he leans on Perrin, especially, and Matt a little bit less, just because Matt's under a wall for a book and among other things.
Thank you. Thank you.
But you know, it's a tough kind of. I don't know how they adapt that part of it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. I there's so much that is left open. Yeah, Russ. I wish that they went with that storyline, and I guess they could have lied to us. The actress that played Layla and Rafe have both said on Instagram, like when they did one of those Instagram Q&A things, that she wasn't a dark friend. But
that was that was what I was absolutely banking on, was that she
too.
was, because then to me that's like the only justification.
I can't tell how many times I watched that scene, like the scene, like because it seems like she's coming at him with the
100%.
So many. I watched that scene so many times, trying to be like, is she doing it? Is it? It looks like it, and
Well, and then the whole thing, and then in the follow-up episode when he has the dream and the wolf is eating her insides, like he was like, she's bad. Her.
Yeah, she's bad.
And that's what I was. That was what I was thinking. And then when Rafe came out and said, "No, that's not the case," the reason why they chose that was because when he goes back to the Two Rivers and he sees her, he's like, he would have married her if he had stayed, right? And that was the whole, because she was married to someone else and had a baby. And so that was the whole point. And I just so that was I did not like the first episode the first time I watched it. I almost didn't make it through the episode because I had such high standards, having read the books for 30 years at that point, right? I was like, and so it really took me, I had to take a step back and I had to be like, okay, it's a show, it's not the books, it's not going to be exact. And then I watched it again a couple of days later and I had a much more realistic feeling about it, you know? And I mean, I don't think, and for people who are, you know, you talked about book cloaks earlier, 100%. For people to not be able to take constructive criticism about the show, because there are some huge issues. There were some big things about the show that did not pay off. But as long as it's constructive criticism, you should be able to take constructive criticism, right? Now, but what the book cloaks do is like a whole nother level of hate, right?
I don't like that hate anywhere. Like I don't like decisive things like that, or divisive, definitive like statements where it's like, this is bad. Like I don't like that. Like say I don't like it. Like that's it. Because
they give your opinion on why you don't think it's good.
Exactly.
Because my opinion is going to be different than you. So there were things in the show that were brilliantly done that I thought were amazing, that filled in a lot of like holes for people who don't know about the lore. You know,
most of my complaints about season 1 have to do with budget. And then
agree 100%.
Their COVID.
Yeah, 100%.
But
honestly, like I think the first because we watched it. I mean, there's 15 hours of us talking about it as we watch it, right? Like everything I feel about it is online. But I think the first 7 episodes I really like.
Same.
I was blown away by them at the time. I'd never read the books, right? And so for me, like I devoured those first 7 episodes. I personally, I really struggle with the finale. I think that,
me too.
And a lot of it is like budgetary stuff and COVID. And Matt, like, and so like I try and be very forgiving around the finale because I know what went into that.
Me too.
But at the same time, there's things about it, that are just like really poorly done in terms of the lighting and the structure of like the day to night sequence of it is just really bizarre. The Moraine has a tell line, like there's just things about that episode that are like I can't get over them because it's like it's a struggle. The thing about season 1 that I do have the hardest time with though isn't even that. It is the Perrin killing his wife moment. Because I don't know right now, they don't do anything with it in season 1. Like it doesn't lead to anything. There's nothing about Perrin's arc in season 1 that is different from the books because he killed his wife. And but we have to see him deal with that at some point.
Yeah.
And because they didn't put it in season 1, I don't know where they put it. Like,
Well,
he has to have an emotional catharsis with this side of himself at some point. And with them condensing the books down, and the fact that we're about to hit a point where Perrin gets married and then disappears for like a book and a half.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going to add in, before he marries Fail, him coming to terms with her death. Because there's not a lot of room if they condense two books to one season.
I think the reason we didn't see it a lot in the first season is because they needed to sideline somebody, because they just simply didn't have enough screen time for everybody.
But then why add this massive thing to the very beginning, and then like they give Perrin arguably the most interesting inciting incident of any of the characters. His arc in episode 1, he actually is changed by the episode. Everyone else is there. Winter's Night is crazy, and they wake up the next morning and they're all the same person. They just have to go on this crazy adventure now that they don't understand.
Low stakes because they don't have a family.
Yeah. Perrin goes through the craziest thing ever. He is married to that woman and maybe is cheating on her with Egwene. That was very strange. But Perrin is married to that woman and he killed her.
Right.
And then they sideline that character in favor of the book stuff, which I understand, right? It's the book stuff. You want to get into the book stuff, but you end up in this weird position where it's like, okay, but like, when does this come up?
Yeah.
And if you're condensing, I really don't know.
I think they sidelined him because he was so depressed. He's depressed and sad, so he's therefore not going to function very well. So like that's the reason that they did it.
Yeah.
But I think Perrin had one of the most, at least to me, impactful episode or scenes in the entire season when he had that conversation with Isla when they were with the Tuathon, and she talked about how her daughter died, and Maria Doyle Kennedy is just freaking,
she's so great.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And but I think that scene with her and Perrin was so insightful to what Perrin was feeling. And I agree with you, they needed to do more. But the thing is, like, that arc for him is so internalized, right? Like it's not something that you can really bring to screen unless you give him like a huge moment. And I feel like that maybe with Barney bailing and not coming back, and they had to fill in Perrin with what would have clearly been Matt moments in season 8, they probably could have reworked those a little bit. Like he was holding the axe, right? If I remember correctly, it's been a while, but he's like, when he's talking to Pat and Fane, he has an axe in his hand and he wouldn't do anything with it because of that. And so maybe that is what is going to, because he's the one that goes off with Uno. He found Uno and Loyal what he thought was mortally wounded. And so maybe that's what, I'm never going to fail my friends again. I'm never going to, and I don't know. It'll be very interesting, especially when Elias comes, because we know he's in season 2. There's a lot of good story development for Perrin to happen. And I just really hope that they bring him and make him much more relevant than he was in season 1.
Well, I think we're going to get a lot of Perrin in season 2, like a lot. So,
I hope so.
I mean,
Matt has to be in a cell in the White Tower for most of the season. Like a lot of our characters don't have a lot of motion in season 2.
Yeah.
So Egwene's going to spend a few episodes in a cell in Falma, right? Like there's a few things that kind of have to happen that are going to draw away from the time that we're going to spend with certain characters. So I'm hoping Perrin and Rand. I really hope Rand picks up the slack on that.
I mean, and when you think about it, the sheer amount of time that takes place in the Great Hunt is probably the longest as far as a calendar goes that we have of any of the books, because there's 4 months when they're doing flicker through the portal stones. And during that entire time, Egwene is in the White Tower for the first 6 to 8 weeks of that. And then she goes through the ways with Leandrin, and then she's in Falma for another 8 weeks. So all of that's a lot of time to cover. So it'll be very interesting to see how they condense that down.
Rafe said that they're doing a time jump. Like episode 1, there's going to be a time jump. So
time jump, yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. When do you think Rand will appear in season 2?
Not in the first. I don't think he's going to be in the first episode.
I don't think so either. I get this weird feeling that like it's going to be like the end of episode 2 will be the reveal of where Rand has been this whole time.
Like we'll see him with his we'll see him with his like shaved head and like.
Yep. I
Which,
agree.
like, the shaved head, like the Aiel, I don't know. They got rid of the red hair, and I was like, that's his whole thing. That's his that's his personality for the first 3 books.
Maybe he's trying to disguise the fact that
I
he's
think
an
so.
Aiel.
Well, or that he's trying to,
or that he's trying that he's a dragon, right?
Yeah. Like they're looking for they're looking for this guy, a tall guy that looks like an Aiel but isn't an Aiel. So
that would be more fun after Falmo when he's been in the sky and they're like the redhead
and
in the sky.
Everyone knows, yeah.
Right.
There was nobody at the,
Yeah. All right. Well,
curious. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm really interested. And when season 2, when we get big information about season 2, we gotta do something like a Saturday. I was doing Saturday lives for a little while. Maybe we'll do another Saturday live and we'll get everyone back on and we'll do like a fun round table or something like that.
Cool beans.
For sure, yeah.
So we're gonna be watching Last of Us. We're not gonna start that next week. We'll do another fun a recap episode for Mandalorian. We'll have a couple more people on. And then the following week, we'll probably start Last of Us. So, yay! And then Beth will probably
JordanCon week.
Yeah, I know. Yes. I mean, we'll still get an episode in, but we got to skip. We're gonna probably. I got to talk to Ebony because she's gonna do a lot of work at JordanCon. I'm gonna do a lot of Dragonmount stuff and Way of the Leaf stuff, and I'll probably hang out with Matt a bunch. But we'll see what happens. We'll get a schedule hammered out, and we'll definitely gonna have you back, Beth.
I will gladly
at least one episode
to the Last of Us conversation.
And if you and your lovely wife want to come back for something, you let me know too. And
we're not always available. We're
I was about to say screenwriting. Yeah, like you guys are busy.
Don't talk to me for the rest of this month, but like come back to me in May.
Yeah.
Well, with Star Celebration in London and then JordanCon, we're driving down for JordanCon.
Yeah.
And then
that's a trip.
Yeah, and then my birthday, we're like announcing our big summer show for my birthday, so it's like it's April's nuts right now. I'm exhausted, but it's good. It's all good stuff. So it's like it's hard to complain when everything is firing all cylinders, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. So I can't wait to see your Star Wars panel. So I'll be looking forward to that on Saturday.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited for JordanCon. We have like nothing to do there. So I'm so curious. I've never been to a convention where I was like afraid of seeing things on the floor. It's going to be a really weird experience of like, it's just gonna be different. I'm usually the guy. I'm usually the guide at con because I've been going since I was 3. So like being the like noob at a con is going to be a very new experience. I'm excited.
You'll be good, and you should definitely go see Ebony. She's the new member director, so like she does like tours and stuff, and the Wheel of Time is only a track at JordanCon. There's 7 other tracks, so you'll be good. Like they have the fantasy track and the science fiction track and the Sanderson track and art and.
We made shirts that have like what books we've read on the back, so that we'll be able to be like, "This is what we've read."
Nice, I love it.
Yeah,
don't spoil.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
That's great. Yeah, and they have a whole gaming area too, where they have like
gigantic gaming room. Yeah, you'll
out there. Honestly,
you'll have no issue finding stuff to do.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. I love con. I'm like, we did 10 cons last year. I think we're doing 12 this year. Like,
that's awesome.
That's amazing.
I'm a con boy. Yeah,
that's awesome. I got to get you. Are you coming to WatCon too?
That was in Iowa.
July in Ohio.
When in July?
14th through 16th or something like that.
Ooh, probably not. Okay. We got a big. The end of July is like our big thing this year that we're doing. And I'm probably going to be like knee deep in preparation. So I don't know if we'll have time to like.
Yeah, July 14th through 16th.
There you go.
In Iowa. I mean, the corn's good.
Ohio.
There is corn in Ohio.
It's the same. It is the same place.
It is the same place, pretty much, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Where in Ohio?
Columbus.
Near Columbus, yeah.
Oh, I like Columbus. I played Columbus years ago. It's a nice town.
It's not in Columbus. It's like next to Columbus.
It's a suburb. Dublin.
Yeah, Dublin. That's what it is.
Dublin.
It's like it's like JordanCon isn't in Atlanta. It's in Roswell or whatever the hell it is. All right. I love all of you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Nomengard and Arosa.
Yeah.
Rapunzel. I love all of you. And
thanks for not spoiling me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. No, I would never. And I will see everyone next week.
Yeah. Have a great one, guys. Nice meeting you, Nerdy.
Nice to meet you as well.
Bye.
Bye.